Hello, good evening, scribes, fam, herbalists. Andy, we've gone live, so you can just pause there, my good man. If you've just gone off the mic, I'd like to say good rising, good evening, hello all. 15th of June, 2019, allegedly, year of our Lord, and I'm happy to say we've got brother Andy in the room. He's just sorting something out on mute at the other end, and I have aptly named this cast all wretch and no bile, Londinium square mile. We're going to just encapsulate that later for you. The Grenfell second annon, and then the claim of life. So never mind claim of rights. We can, endorse and restore your rights. No problem. We have rights, and if we didn't, then the human rights and international covenants there would have something to say. So rest assured, we can establish your rights. We can establish your rights privately as well, never mind public and international. So what we're saying here is never mind claim of rights. Rights are pretty much standard and child's play for us. Claim of life. Claim of life with reference to manslaughter and such things as, the data and the specifics of Grenfell, what's happening in London. Don't forget, I was down helping out on a private mission the other week when I went live in the Capitol, and I happened to go past the development site there near and around Grenfell, and I've seen the activity. So I'm a bit sad and woeful with things, but we won't let it get us down. It's not going to weigh it, the theme of the mood. But all wretch and no bile, that comes from brother Alan Watts, one of his hangouts, one of his videos on uploaded by them chill step mixes that I've shared with you. And I was falling asleep. I was neither awake nor asleep. I was in that middle zone. And when I heard him say, it's all wretch and no bile, I was like, wow, it just sunk in. And I thought I must get the chance to say that. I will do. And then finally, thank you all for the love and respect for the 21 videos from the channel name Liability Mate and the 21 gemstone videos that go to accompany the 57 page document that I shared with you with the corrupt world system. I'd like to touch on that later after the other two important topics, Grenfell, Londinium Square Mile. And then I'll talk to you about the gemstone. And I'm glad you're seeing what I am seeing, and you're hearing what I'm hearing. Not all of you, but some of you have put some really concise emails together. And thank you for your praise, for the grumble at some points, as well. And we'll get to that. So that's enough for me for the setup. All right, you know where we're going and why we're going there. I'm going to hand over to brother Smithy while I just do a few changes in here. And oh, come on, Cam. Hey up, how we doing? Nice to see thee, nice. And yes, I'll just be doing a few things. Andy, if you're there, if you can hear me, I'll hand over for you to say hello, good evening, and welcome. Bosh. If not, I'll carry on talking.
Yes, good evening, famalan. Good evening, chat room. Good evening, one and all. Hope all is well. Peace and blessed be.
Can you see the chat room, brother? Is it an option for you? I'm just loading up now.
I may be able to open it up on my other what's it. Hang on a moment. Yes, I can see the chat room. Albert Matthews, Lisa Gray, Gui, Stephen Drake, Alegna William. Welcome back, Andy. Thank you. Yep, it's all good. Been relearning how to get around the SPL site. Red loads. Hopefully a friend is going to print off what I need. Oh, there you go then. We've been of assistance to somebody. Blessed be. Peace and love, everybody.
Yeah, I'm getting text messages and it's very, very busy at the minute. So, yeah, good to have you back, and thank you for reading them out. I'm just loading up now, and then I'll be able to see them as we're chatting as well, brother. So,
well, I've been extremely busy myself, as you well know. I've filled you in with what's not now, in my private life and on the public realm, with everyone wanting a piece of you. So, only for so far, and so much one man can do. So, I've had to do what I've had to do with my own private life, and put everything else on the back burner. So, I found remedy. I've sought what I needed, and I'm now back to help others if possible.
That's good to know. We all need to duck out and take time out. And yes, when you it's like other things we've said. If we can't focus and know when our own time, is needed for our own, like neglect somewhat, not on purpose, but you can't
Well,
deny it. We do help, and then put ourselves last, and yeah, we need to.
well,
So
that's it.
well done, yeah.
It's a hierarchy, isn't it, mate? I've had extremely pressing, personal, deep matters that I've had to attend to. They could not be left at night. They had to be addressed and redressed, and it's taken all of my time, love, and energy input to be able to do that effectively and with my full heart and diligence as required. So, hence, I couldn't have any distraction or anything like that of sorts when something like this so important as this in at this epoch in my life had to be sorted. So I can just say thank you everybody for being patient and waiting for me while I'd done what was personal to me. It was very important that I'd done it in that way. Thank you.
Yeah, it was. I had a chat with you, and I said that's fine. That's how life is. You've got to be strong. You can't be strong and love yourself. And it wasn't about loving yourself, but if you can't be strong for yourself, supportive, love yourself, etc., then you're no good to man nor beast. So, man, family man, etc. Yeah, that's all above board. And what's needed. I've done the same. Kev's doing the same, and I did do a cast about drugs, cocaine, drinking, weekend binging, and said, "Scribes, you need to start looking after yourselves a bit better." I'll go down that road a bit deeper later regarding, domestic fallouts. Old Bill getting called the officers, and and then it gets a bit, serious, doesn't it, for stupid little arguments and no. So yes, I've had a go at the Scribes a little bit, saying, and. Not a go, but just a focused chat. And
It's
yes,
ego. It's a lot of ego in today's society, I'm afraid. He said, she said. And once we dig our
well,
heels in and the arrogance takes over and the ego kicks in, it's difficult to stand down at that point. And that's why we've got to not get to that point.
yeah, I did do a video covering the death of the ego and how much that's important. And Mike Tyson taking DMT, and yeah, well said, relevant. And I had questions about you, Andy, and I handled it well. I said, well, he's taking time out. I don't know. I wasn't involved with Abel. I wasn't involved with anything. I had one day down in Wales. I know very little. And I'm not, even if I did know, I wouldn't be authorised and obliged to tell you publicly because it's a private setup. But yeah, I'm glad to
Well,
hear
I've
that you're
been
back and all.
the reasons why I've been away is for reasons other than anything to do with Abel. I can affirm that to you this day. They have had no reach or touch or breach of anything or untoward towards me. My own difficulties and personalised problems I've had to deal with has nothing to do with them. I'll attest that to you this day.
No, you don't need. Well, yeah, to the Scribes, that's what I'm saying. It was a little bit like, okay, then. So I'm getting a lot of questions about brother Andy, and he's taking some time out. And that's what I told him. I said, I'm not allowed to tell you anything else, and I don't know anything else. I only know about his private stuff. So those that are asking me about other things, I can't tell you because I don't know. Those asking me about
Well,
Andy, he's
you
taking time
can't tell
out.
them exactly what you don't know because I don't tell you what's private to me is private to me. I don't disclose to you, so then you can't disclose to anybody else. So that's just how it is, and we can all enact privately in that way. It would be a happier world, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, that's where we're going next stage of the educational courses is the public to the private. That's the next move. Um, can't be done quick
That's how
enough.
I've been able to come to the forefront of the plane because that which I've done and enacted privately previously in my life, I can speak of this day as form over the substance, because it's only that which I've done. So these times of privacy are much required because the things that I do and perform within those times of privacy, I then come and speak of later on how I sought and got redress or remedy or recourse or whatever I was seeking.
Yeah, baby, that's it. That is it. All right, I've just logged in. I can see the room now. I'd like to say hello to the Scribes in the house, Albert, Lisa, Gooey. Tomorrow we'll email and chat. Hello there. Hope you've emailed David at spOspro.com. I did, I've chatted to them and I've seen some notifications on the video. So tomorrow will be the day. Stephen says evening. It's going to be morning soon, but yeah, evening. Thank you, Stephen. Legna, yeah. By Mia, that's a new name, brother. I see. Okay. Sister Lisa, what have we got? Julian, what else we got? It's quiet tonight. Brother Jerry's dropped in. What we see? Can anybody advise? What's this? Okay, anyone? Wow, GUI. Let's just splash down and let's see what's going on. What does GUI 7 want? Can anyone help me? It's my first step, which is requesting a certificate of birth from the registrar. Kind thanks. Yes, we can help you, but not right now. This second, we'll get back to it. But the scribes will tell you what they know. It's your first step, so certificate of birth from the registrar. Kind thanks. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll fill you in what they know. Serious. It will be done. You don't need to keep saying anyone question mark GUI. We will answer that and get to that.
Well, bear with me 1 second, brother. I'm just going to go and fetch my headphones. So I can barely hear you tonight. I don't know what's going on. 1 minute, mate.
Oh, I've got. I'm going. Yeah, just quiet. That's all. Just yeah, and my mic's probably far away. Not shouting. Has anybody been watching the 21 videos from Liability Mate from Gemstone University? Would you like to give me any feedback on them live and direct and what you're thinking? The CQV, what I noticed there, Cest K and Cesta KV, two separate things. Interesting. The whole world structure, controlling structure. I forget what the title of the videos are. Bondage and slavery generally. Errors and emissions accepted. That goes back to your cargo and freight. When you are doing a notice and doing it in the private, and you're putting on by and in personam or autographed by the authority and the author and all of these things, and then we put errors and emissions accepted. Turns out from watching that video, them videos, because we don't know everything, and I'm not an expert in all matters. It's a continuous learning evolution, as you know, continuous improvement. Turns out that when you put errors and emissions accepted, it goes back to when you were signing for the manifests. And they used to put that so they could tally it up later, odd bits of pallets and that. You know what it's like on the docks, especially around some of these docks around here. Stuff goes missing. Stuff just falls off the back of the boat. So errors and emissions accepted. For my due diligence and research, turns out that on them videos, it implies that it relates to the common commerce, and the manifestations and errors and emissions corrected would relate to public trade and public commerce and not the private trade or the private side of things. So that was something I picked up in there. CQV and Sestu KV and Sestu K. Age of 7 is when it kicks in, and then it goes to 14, then it goes to 21. Turns out there's 3 points. I didn't know about 14. I know about 7 and 7 years and the abandonment. Okay, so there's your live life claim. Never mind claim of right. CQV, abandoned, dead, presumed lost at sea. So we've got to prove that man is alive, just like in Sheffield. So interesting claim of life. 2 CQs. Yeah, I didn't see it anywhere else. And the final little bit that's just coming randomly while we're waiting for Andy. I'm just filling in here, by the way. It's just filling in stuff. Is the rest that I said there. I'll let Andy have a chat. Are you there, brother? Are we on? I'll take that as a no. Andy, is headphone on, lad?
And we're in, lad. Here we go. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I filled in and let them know there's some information in them videos of which I'm extremely keen on. He does also say about being sovereign. While I'm here and I'm on the roll, then I'm very grateful for the gemstone videos and the little bits that they're going to fill in there and the correlations and the discovery. He says that we've all contracted and that we are militant, belligerent combatants, and you cannot be sovereign in the way that you might want to think you are sovereign. You can only be, well, that's my opinion, and I'm not telling you to call yourself sovereign, because if you don't think it's right, or you can't back it up, or you don't fully get it or understand it, then call yourself self-governing and private. But this bloke on the video is there going, well, when we've all contracted, we are in there. I'm like, well, it was deceptive. It was non-disclosure. Is it really a trust? When you set something up public, indentured, you know, the indentured Hebrews of Egypt, what I posted on Facebook and around the realms might be interested correlation to all of this, but when you are in a statutory setup, constructed, unconscionable, nasty little thing like that, is it really a trust? I beg you, is it? Is it a trust? I don't think so. I think it's a setup. It's masquerading as a trust. It's not really truly a trust. So that's not trust. So that's bullshit then. If it's bullshit, we haven't consented to it. We didn't know about it. The parents informing and giving us the informed state and the inform and the informant and the infant. We get all of that. We get it. So good gemstone. I'd just like to say from me to you, a message to anybody that's gone on and made a membership with Gemstone and speaks to the family there. I've reached out to them in the past and I haven't had much feedback, and they criticised and from Facebook area, that's all. And now we see these videos and the publications and the words and the jurisprudence and it's very nice that they've got this educational platform that was published in July, August 2018. Well, we had our first annon in December 18, and we published the Key Competence Masters Guild for free that we've collected. That's your work. All I've done is collated it and put it back out in some kind of semblance and structure. I beg to differ, Gemstone, that we did not sign up, and consent is the key word there, okay? Andy didn't consent, David didn't consent, none of the scribes consented, Gemstone. So we are not militant combatants, and we haven't contracted. What has happened is the legal society of the law society and the temple bar and the Roman pagans of divided Rome that we're in have done this to us. And they've done that by deceptive measures. So when we stand here and I say that I'm honourable under the Creator and I am self-governing, I classify myself as a sovereign being because of how I go about my deeds and executions, not my acts and what I do. And let me tell you now, I'm executing a few fine deeds and I take as many scribes and loved ones into the private, away from the public nasty area of it. I'm not criticising Gemstone in any way. What I'm saying is when you make a video and you make an informational video and it's on a dark, deep, pagan, Roman divided subject such as this, and you've got everybody hanging on your every word, you have an element of responsibility, an air of duty and things like this, and you don't go shooting round the rest of the family on the opposite side of the world that has reached out to you and wanted to work with you, for you to go around and make it snide, insinuous comments like that. And the ones that are a little bit weaker and not so confident, they believe you telling them that they've contracted when they haven't. So it's a little bit of argumentation to some extent. And I've had them videos 6 months and I've worked on it. And I haven't mentioned this for a long time. Andy's not been here while we've brought them out and further documents while he's had a break. So it'll be a bit random to him. But there's a lot of love and respect to Gemstone from me. Okay, bottom line, I love you all. I wish my enemies no harm. I follow what the way it should be. I love my enemies and I hope that they will repent and see the error of their ways. And I wish no man on this planet any harm. I wish to kill or get nobody or to get one over. I want love and respect and equality and to move on. So thank you for your comments again. And you have noticed that, which is why I'm saying. And some of you, you've got some good comments to come back from me. So Andy, I've caught up. Thank you. I'm yielding.
It's all good, brother. It's your show. It's what it's all about. I'm just a guest, and guess whose turn it is to wait while you babble on. It's my turn.
Go.
And it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first, that he went through the cornfields, and his disciples plucked up the ears of corn, and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. And certain of their Pharisees said unto them, Why do ye that which is not lawful do to one on a Sabbath days? And Jesus answered them, said, Have ye not read so much as this, what David did when himself was an hungered, and they which were with him, how he went into the house of God, and did take and eat the shew bread, and gave them also that were with him, which it is not lawful to eat but for the priests alone. And he said unto them, that the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. And it came to pass also on another Sabbath, that he entered into the synagogue and taught, and there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and Pharisees watched him, whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man which had the withered hand, Rise up and stand forth in the midst. And he arose and stood forth. Then Jesus said unto him, I will ask you one thing, is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it? And looking round upon them all, he said unto the man, Stretch forth thy hand. And he did so, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And they were filled with madness, and communed with one another, and they were might to do to Jesus. And it came to pass in those days that he went out into a mountain to pray, and continued all night to pray to God. And it was this day he called unto him his disciples, and of them he chose 12, whom also he named apostles.
Yeah.
What a lovely little story.
Like classified as agents in some respects. You know, I know they weren't, but you know, when I hear of Jews, Hebrews being indentured in Egypt and indentured trusts and so forth, and yeah, it's where was that from? Where did you read from there, Andy?
That's it's in Luke, mate. I should continue. This is chapter 4 from 16 onwards. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And in his custom was he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Esaias. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of the sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. And he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister, and sat down. And the eyes of them all that were in the synagogue were fastened on him. And he began to say unto them, This day is the scripture fulfilled in your ears. And all bare him witness, and wondered at the gracious words which proceeded out of his mouth. And they said, It is not this Joseph's son? And he said unto them, Ye will surely say unto me this proverb, Physician, heal thyself. Whatsoever we can heard done in Capernaum, do also here in thy country. And he said, Verily, I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country. But I tell you of a truth, many widows were in Israel in the days of Elias, when the heaven was shut up 3 years and 6 months, when great famine was throughout all the land. But unto none of them was Elias sent, save unto Sarepta, a city of Sidon, unto a woman that was a widow. And many lepers were in Israel in the time of Eleusis and the prophet, and none of them was cleansed, saving Annon in Syrian. And all they in the synagogue, when they heard these things, were filled with wrath, and rose up and thrust him out of the city, and led him unto the brow of the hill wherein their city was built, where they might cast him down headlong. But the passing through the midst of them went his way, and came down to Capernaum, the city of Galilee, and taught them on the Sabbath days. And they were astonished at his doctrine, for his word was with power. And in the synagogue there was a man which had a spirit of an unclean devil, and cried out with a loud voice, saying, Let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Jesus of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee who thou art, the Holy One of God. And Jesus rebuked him, saying, Hold thy peace, and come out of him. And when the devil had thrown him in the midst, he came out of him, and hurt him not. They were all amazed, and spake among themselves, saying, What a word is this? For with this authority and power he commandeth the unclean spirits, and they come out. And the fame of him went out into every place of the country round about. Christos oil, baby. That's where it's at, the consciousness right there.
Sounds like exorcism. I've just done some posting on a channel about that. Science can't explain this about an exorcist, and he's saying, I forget his name. He's well known. It's a well-known channel. I put it on fbander.com, so you'll pick it up if you've got eyes. And he says about Genesis being the chapter that the devil, Satan, doesn't like because it exposes all his instruments and so forth. And what's the other one now? What's the end one? Revelation. He doesn't. Well, there's 66 books. What's the end one? Well, the ones that we know of that we've got that are in the Testament as it is. The changing of the Lord's Prayer, scribes. We need to talk about that. Lead us not into heaven, but let me evil, and that book that was changed. This exorcist goes on about telling you about the demon and the devil, and he says that Satan in the Bible in Ephesians, You've started something here, Andy. Let me tell you now. This is it's mad, it's brilliant. And he says that the devil Satan offers Jesus the 9 realms, and Jesus doesn't say, "Nah, then, pal, they're not yours to offer." It goes God, Jesus, and then the rest. And the devil is Lucifer, devil, Baal, 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 Beelzebub. And he says that when the devil in Ephesians, Satan, offers Jesus the 9 realms, Jesus doesn't argue and say, you can't, they're not yours to offer. What he says is, no, he turns them down. And it turns out this exorcist is saying that these demons that are in these poor people, when they come to him and he has to get them out, he says the faith. The demons have got a load of power. They're very crafty. They're very working for the devil. They're in that realm. I can't describe them. I've only ever met a couple. And briefly, let me tell you, I was lucky. I believe they were demons, and I've got away. But he says they're very clever. They're very crafty. And he says it's not the fact that I am powerful than the demon. He says it's my belief in the faith of where I'm going. And you coming out with that's just drawn me straight back to him saying about all of this stuff. And I'm like, so he said, this exorcist, he says that God is the ruler of the universe. This isn't me saying word for word. I'm just saying what this video's got on. He says, and the devil is in charge of this realm, this world. And Jesus knew that. Jesus was sent here to help the ones that are here fight the devil. He said, because God's got to let good and evil outplay on the realm. And, God lets man be bad. God lets man murder. God lets man have war. God lets man pretty much, look at the 3 continents there, Washington, London, and Italy, Vatican, them separate nations, and what God's letting them do, lest we not forget. And we are being deceived. Jesus said, don't be deceived. And God said certain things, so very, very well put there, Andy, about the spirits and the demons that we have inside us. We're all good and evil, love and hate. And we have to have that time to, I think it's because of my age that this is happening, and you turning Bible things out and where we've gone. It's good to have you back, brother. It's good to have you back.
And when much people were gathered together, and were come to him out of every city, he spake by a parable. A sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and it was trodden down, and the fowls of the air devoured it. And some fell upon a rock, and as soon as it was sprung up, it withered away, because it lacked moisture. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprang up with it and choked it. And other fell on good ground, and sprang up, and bare fruit an 100-fold. And when he had said these things, he cried, He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. And his disciples asked him, saying, What might this parable be? And he said, Unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God, but to others in parables, that seeing they might not see, and hearing they might not understand. Now the parable is this: the seed is the word of God. Those by the wayside are they that hear. Then cometh the devil, and taketh away the word out of their hearts, lest they should believe and be saved. They on the rock are they which, when they hear, receive the word with joy, and these have no root, for which a while believe, and in time of temptation fall away. And that which fell among thorns are they which, when they have heard, go forth, and are choked with cares and riches and pleasures of this life, and bring no fruit to perfection. But that on the good ground are they which in an honest and good heart, having heard the word, keep it and bring forth fruit with patience. No man, when he hath lightened a candle, covereth with a vessel, or putteth it under a bed, but setteth it on a candlestick, that they which enter in may see the light. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Take heed, therefore, how ye hear. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken, even that which he seemeth to have.
Oh, scary then. All right, take 'em. Oh, seeds. We're the seeds. We're between the thorns. We are the seeds, and we're between the thorns. In the Bible, it says about when the times that the devil and Satan and Lucifer is mentioned, different names like the Messiah, Christ, the Reborn, Jesus, Nazareth. You know, all these different names for different characters at different times and different parts of the book and different testaments. Seeds. Let me think. Human persons, humans, monsters, devil. Who those that right? When man is evil, it's a personal thing. Think about it now. God is not a respecter of persons. Pin that. All right, that's the theme. Now, with what Andy's just said about the seeds and the thorns and the choking and the land and the rocks and the oh yeah, I'm in there. Oh, picturing it as you was going, Andy. When someone's evil to somebody, they do it with a personal touch because you don't just pick a random folk, man, brother, sister, and abuse them and commit common law, harm, injury, loss, and satanic things or whatever it is, nastiness in general. You don't just meet a random. It's normally someone that you know, and you premeditate it, and they've pissed you off, and you want revenge, and you start to plan it, and it's so. So see where I'm going? It's a personal thing there. The evilness, love and hate, they're on the same. What is it? Dialectic, alien dialect thing, and you've got the devilness inside, the wickedness of man. We'll not say devil, we'll call it the wickedness of man as it's written. And the wickedness of man is a personal thing, and the devil is connected. It's written in the book there. In Ephesians, is referenced as a person. I'll tell you now, I've read it. I'm looking at all of the books, and it's amazing where we're going. So things are picking up, jumping out, and I thought the devil's referenced as a person. God's not a respecter of persons. When you do something personal, you can do something loving personally, like planning a surprise wedding. Planning a surprise wedding for your loved one, your queen, to be is a personal thing, and you can do things personally in a loving way. But God is still not a respecter of persons. When you're going down the legal marriage route and the legal things and getting a license, is because you're a person. See, when you go to court and you're a person, doesn't respect that. When you're in the legal realm on the land, beneficiary man on the land, the creditor, creator, protector has been reduced to a mortgagee, trustee, and whatever else it is there. It's so the devil person, and I believe that this realm is run, this planet, as you can see, by that man, the devil, who's a man, as a person, inflicting that, and we are the seeds in that realm amongst the thorns, spreading the word, which is the seed. Then, as you, God, Lord, Andy, it's a heavy one. This you've just come back on, and you've already shattering my brain. I can't cope with it all. It's brilliant. I like it. Carry on, brother. If you've got more, we're ready.
And then he called his 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. And he then sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. And he said unto them, take nothing for your journey, neither staves, nor scrip, neither bread, neither money, neither have 2 coats apiece. And whatsoever house ye enter into, there abide, and thence depart. And whosoever will not receive you, when ye go out of that city, shake off the very dust from your feet for a testimony against them. And they departed and went through the towns, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard of that was done by him, and he was perplexed, because that was said of some that John was risen from the dead, and of some that Elias had appeared, and of others that of old prophets was risen again. And Herod said, John have I beheaded, but who is this of whom hear such things? And he desired to see him. And the apostles, when they were returned, told him all they had done. And he had took them and went aside privately into a desert place belonging to the city called Bethsaida. And the people, when they knew it, followed him. And he received them and spake unto them of the kingdom of God, and healed them that had need of healing. And when the day began to wear away, they came the 12 and said unto him, set the multitude away, and they may go into the towns and country round about, and lodge, and get victuals, for where we are in a desert place. But he said unto them, give ye them that eat. And they said, we have no more but 5 loaves and 2 fishes, except we should go and buy meat for all his people. For they were about 5,000 men. And he said to the disciples, make them sit down by the 50s in a company. And they did so, and made them all sit down. Then he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to the heaven, he blessed them, and breaking gave the disciples to set before the multitude. And they did eat, and were all filled. And there were taken up of fragments that remained to them 12 baskets. And it came to pass, as he was alone praying, as his disciples were with him, he asked them, saying, whom say the people that I am? They answering said, John the Baptist. But some say Elias, and others say, the one of the old prophets is risen again. He said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Peter answering said, the Christ of God. And the straightly, yes.
Ooh.
And he straightly charged them and commanded them to tell no man that thing, saying, the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be slain, and be raised the 3rd day. What a little chapter that is, what a little verse, saying the Son of Man must suffer many things, and he be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be slain, and be raised the 3rd day.
The Son of Man, persons, Son of Man. Look at it like that. Then, well, it is saying men need to be slain and whatever. Then, well, why? For what reason? I know God is a jealous, angry God, and so forth, and we may be in sin since the serpent and Eve had a chat. But wow, that's yeah, Grenfell.
We have to, yes, we have to suffer the darkness to see the light.
I would like to say, firstly, I haven't taken time to say if anybody has been affected and suffered with the death of a loved one through that, or extended family that you know of, and you've been affected indirectly, and it's even if you've had no family there, we are all family, as you come to know by being on this channel and describe yourself. So it pains us, little baby Alfie wasn't our family, but we both, all of us, may have definitely, probably, definitely, mostly shed tears. And lest we not forget, deception is rife, and this is why we're here, because I appreciate it's a Saturday night and we should be out drinking and doing what the rest are, and acting cool and whatnot, what we shouldn't be. But you self-initiates there, you see now. So we go from disciples and this realm to the self-initiate stage, and this Bible. Let me just say that I am taking it as an instrument, as a way to get out of the legal setup that we're in now with the divided Rome and the pagan cult, the extension of Bile. So with Andy coming out here just getting bits and bobs, it's the synchronicity is cunning. I haven't spoke to Andy about this cast, and I don't know what chapters and where he's coming from in the book, but I'm trying to make it bounce for you. But you are self-initiates. And I don't want to compare us to, but we are in the creator's image, okay? And everything is atom, and we are atomic, and there is direct correlation to crazy little things on this realm that we cannot explain, that we've been lied to, even the Smithsonians with the great skeletons and Persia and what we bring to you. So I'm happy to see the self-initiates and where we are going. But these stories is no matter which way you cut it, we are repeating history, are we not? Hopefully.
Allow me to ask you this, brethren. For what is a man advantaged if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away?
Oh, like a rich elitist, you mean, then? Something like that, rather than, yeah.
Beautiful, isn't it, mate? That's Luke 9, verse 25. For what is a man advantaged if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away?
Well, there is a man that's gained that. There is a man, all right. Okay. Francis d'Assisi, the Papa sees, the Papal sees, the leaden buller. Yeah, he has declared and proclaimed, and we can prove that he's running the whole realm. Everything operates under Francis. So, what is a man who gains the whole world? I don't know. Look at Francis and the Vatican in Italy, where my family is, half of them. You know, I'm ashamed to say it. It's not my
Well,
doing, but
well, this is
what is
just
he? He's
refer.
a
Yeah,
powerful. Wait, he's a powerful man in the Roman cult. That's in a divided Roman cult. He's the most powerful man on the planet legally, but lawfully, we self-initiates and scribes and herbalists and everything else, we are the power, but we don't know it. And because we don't know it, we let him be the power. You know, when I was younger, it was Pete Tong had the power, and I let Pete have the power. But now, like Paddy and no likey, no likety, not trying to infringe or anything, but we put the power in your hands. We don't ask you for money. We don't ask you for thousands. We don't put stuff on a complicated.com. Yes, we have a .com. We have a private domain. We're trying to act in conscience and honor, but we have the power. That man there has no power, and he's sinned in front of God. And as for changing the Lord's Prayer, you see, I'm linking this because I'll forget otherwise, Andy. Hallowed be thy name. All of this, I'm not going to recite the Lord's Prayer, but the bit that's been changed is about, then don't lead us into temptation. Lead us not into temptation is how it's written. I'd like somebody to type up what it now says, and I believe it may have the word evil in there. But what Francis has said with Italy recently, Roma, is that he doesn't believe that the Lord's Prayer. Remember, in the Bible, there's a bit, Andy, that says any man that changes the shit in this book is going to be fucked up. He doesn't say that, but that's how I'm feeling at this minute.
that's what it's saying. Yes.
And he's
Yes.
changed it, and he said, "Oh yeah, because the Lord would never lead you into temptation." But there are sections in the Bible where the Lord leads Jesus up a mountain to test him. I'm not going to go into the. I'll save that for another time. But there are parts in the Bible where the Lord, Creator, Most High, gets others and he puts them and he wants to test them, like we're being tested now. So I'm sorry, Francis, you know how much I loathe this I don't know, resemblance of a human. This is a real human monster there. Look at him, he doesn't even look loving. I'm sorry, he doesn't look like a man I want to show love and, you know, whatever to. And it's just it's a bit touchy, isn't it, really? I'm sorry if I've offended anybody, but the great Lord there led and leads others into temptation, because that's the point. You've got to be tested. So he's changed it to say, oh, yeah, well, we're insulting the great one. No, you've insulted, in my opinion, the great, whichever, you know, Elohim. I can't just say God, because Elohim in Hebrew means gods, and Elohah means God, and there are gods. And it looks like, you know, with the skeletons and everything else we're finding that's been hidden away in the myths there, that there was a lot of bigger family around. So Francis has really dropped a clanger for what he's done, but he's claimed ownership under the 3 testamentary trusts. The first testamentary, testi is your testicles, that's your DNA, that's your bulls, men, bulls, bull, buller, what have you said, parable, bile, horns. You know, it's no coincidence there, and he's claimed under them, and then he's created the Attorney Regis, the Lex Matoria, everything else. It's come subsequent to that. So quite evil in a way. And I think what you're saying there is, sorry, I've gone on massively, but I needed to link that in about the Lord's Prayer, because I'm going to go and look at the comments shortly after, and we'll see the feedback on that as well. So over to you, brother.
Blessed be. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. And unto him that smitteth thee on the one cheek offer also the other, and him that taketh away thy cloak forbid not thou to take thy coat also. Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him taketh away thy goods ask them not again. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. And if ye do not do to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive. What thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners, to receive as much again. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest, for he is the kind unto the unthankful, and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Given it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye mete withal shall be measured to you again. And he spake a parable unto them. Can the blind lead the blind? Shall they not both fall into the ditch? The disciple is not above his master, but every one that is perfect shall be his master. How's that for you?
Yes, masters, that's a good mar star, par star, mini star, ra star. So master. See, I'm getting into this quite, further on now with the phonics and the etymology and the the titles there. Zodiac, it's there for you to see star language and the connection of which we've lost there. So master, the Sovereign Masters Guild. Any kind of self-initiation that you put yourselves on, you are looking to a mastery. If you ever get confused there of your title, and I'd argue that you would have a civil title, which is the Mr., Laird, Lord, Sir, Ms., Mrs., all of that. That's your legal, title there before the given name and so forth. And then you'd have your educational title, which would be those that are LLB honours, from universities and that. You see, you've got your graduate degree or whatever, your masters in your distinctions and so forth. So you have those kind of doctor, Dr. Jeremita, Dr. G, whatever. So then you've got the title for yourself, like your private title, which is, I don't have a name, scribes, okay, I have a calling and I use a name. I am not that name. How can I be a name? So, and that calling is private, and those that know me privately will address, or they will gain my attention. There we go. It's so hard. By calling me disco, or as it was, DJ, or idiot, or chimp boy, monkey brain, whatever it is. That's because you know me privately. So master is the title for your private as well. I would say self-initiates and those men out there, women, all of us, sisters and brothers, then knowing whom you are, where the authority comes from, and that's the faith. Because at that moment you don't know. You're on here, Dave and Andy, and that's what we're saying. It's really It's scary. The first time I ever rang Big Barry and said, "Nah, then." It may have been for somebody else, as it happens, and I was like, "Whoa, I've really got to try my best. I've never done this before. I've got to ring this bloke up who wants money. I've got to go vulnerability. I've got to remember no contract." I had a little list on a post-it note, to be fair, and when I was waiting for him to answer, I was like, I could feel my breath. I was like, "Oh," and I had to tell myself, "Dave, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm getting ready." I'm like, "But you are ready." And I'm like, "Yeah, but this is my first time." And I'm having a two-way conversation waiting for this bloke picks up. And then it just went into it. And after 30 seconds, I'll be honest, to 2 minutes, I gained control because he was actually all right. And he played the game. So he made it easy for the first one. And then I didn't record that because I did record it for myself, but I didn't upload it. And it took me 3 to 4 calls, even though I had the faith. It was the programming, all right. What I need to tell you is it's the shitty bit of this is that you know what you're doing, you have the faith, but you are programmed still. And believe me, those of you that have done this and walked the path, it's hard. And after a few goes, you do get that confidence. But that's where the faith comes in. And to be fair, you do actually do a little bit of, trumping and whatever at times, and you're not sure. And then when it comes through, that feeling,
Yes.
Oh, Andy, tell them about it. Preach.
Well, I'd like to read just a small piece of my gospel. For a good tree bringeth not forth corrupt fruit, neither doth a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. For every tree is known by his own fruit. For of thorns men do not gather figs, nor of a bramble bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. And that's why people resonate with me, because I speak from my heart. My heart's on my sleeve. And why ye who call me Lord, Lord, and not do the things which I say? Whosoever cometh to me, and heareth my sayings, and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like. He is like a man which built an house, and digged deep, and laid the foundations on a rock. And when the flood arose, the stream beat vehemently upon the house, and could not shake it, for it was founded upon a rock. But he that heareth and doeth not is like a man that without a foundation built an house upon the earth, against which the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great.
It's like the statutory common law. No, wait, hang on then. Oh, yes, it's like the public codes, America, Australia, Commonwealth countries, Hong Kong, China have got the civil system of the UK rolled out. So for a tiny little country, we've rolled out on top of everybody else's good. We'll call it common law then, for want of a better word, even though that's public, that common law has equity to back it up. So mixed in with your common law is your private remedy, but those that don't know won't ever go that. So your common law is your base. That's the good solid law. You're happy to hear me say that, I know. Common law is public, but it has a private remedy within the public, and that's the section 6 and 7. Don't quote me. Hidden in section 7, I believe, is the CPR starting on that way. So when you have a system of good quality law and fundamental, the commandments and everything, the covenants are all there, locked down. Okay, that's where we was. Then Jesus was invented. Sorry, but yeah, and he was an event, the crucifixion. For those that don't want to hear this, okay, my language will tell you now. Crusade, crusader, cruz is a cross. Say is of, S-E, crusade, fiction. So it's a cross of fiction, and the Bible pathway there. So it is quite good that we have this comparison now. And I'm going to go common law with equity, public and private, good law system, foundation solid. Then comes along club of pagan Rome and the agents and the Jesuits and so forth, and they inspire this system, central banking, fractionalized reserve. No, it's credit control, and they built it on top of slowly over time. And someone's mentioned William of Orange there, William the Conqueror, and his untimely death. And yes, you're right. You're all very, very loving and clever. Some of the best scribes I've ever seen. So they built this system of black, cardinal, pagan, Roman, papal, bulla, nasty, legal, deceptive, all of it, yeah. And they built it on top of a good system. And that's why we're good at what we do, because we see all of the system now. He's got the language, he's got the books, we've got the scripts, we've got, the instruments, we've got the mathematics, we've got the font, we've got it all. We have cracked it wide open. We are on the cusp. When I tell you this is the last year of all of this, I put my testy on the line and I testify that this is it. We are done. It is over. Club of Rome, you can see it out there. Every factor in every country of every element is rotten and crumbling. It has been exposed and the snake is withering. Not all snakes are bad, because I like the surprise of all of this. The serpent rising is the kundalini, the bottom of the spine. So what Andy's just written out there reminds me of the good times before the Bible and the Jesus and the crucifixion and the testification of the DNA and the moving on of the bondage with the religion. And they've gone, haha, let's see this great system. And furthermore, when you look around the realm, what did Rome build on? Whatever it broke down, it then built on its churches. I'll go for Italy, Vatican. Where is Vatican Hill? What is it built on? A hill, and it was on a cemetery, and they kicked us. And you do your research, you'll find out what these ley lines and energy points, and also what they expose as well. Good systems of older thousands of years old technologies, and perhaps what the aliens, or the, in the Bible it says that they were going up to heavens in chariots of fire with clouds of smoke. It sounds like a rocket blasting off with the smoke at first and then the fire and the horsey taking them up, coming back down. It's all there, and that bit's been taken away. The star's been taken away. We've given this bullshit, and it's been built up on that. And because you're a person, you're a monster. God is not a respecter of persons. The devil has a personal nature, and this is why it's become, to hate you, the system, because you allow it, you let it in. You don't use your free will, and you can't see the truth. So we've spent time, hours, we've traveled the realm, we've held seminars, we've done publications, we love everybody, we wish no malice, but know this: the way they get away with it is because their deceptive ways are built up on a system of good. And if you can see the murky waters and get back to land, then that's the start. That is a good start, and eventually you will return being back to a self-governing private man, beneficiary on the land, creditor, protector, everything like that. We are there. We have everything. I'll tell you now on this cast, I'm so excited, Andy. You know what I'm saying, and you feel it too, I hope, because we are there, brother. It's happening this year, very soon.
Well, we're at this epoch, unbeknownst that was going to be here. It's not by fluke. It's not the sequences after the con. It's all synchronicitized for us, or synchronized.
Yeah,
and
baby.
we are where we should be at this time. So we've learnt this for a reason. We've helped so many others for a reason. And the reason is to do good for ourselves, our offspring, and those around us. And if we can just tell 10 people, and they tell 10 people, and so on and so forth, and tens of hundreds of peoples can soon be out of the corporate world. And I say that because peoples are in the corporate world. So it's all in the words, isn't it? Let's get down to the nuts and bolts there.
Corpus, Jebus, the cross, corpus. I'm not trying to shatter your way of thinking, not you, Andy, but the scribes and those on the replay. Crucifix. You've been fixed to the cross, and the cross, X marks the spot, cross, X, pirates, mark of pirates, what we've covered and where we've gone. By helping others, I've learned to have self-control. I've learned to have forward thought. I've really developed myself personally, and my relationships have all been sunk, and I've forged new, sound on solid ground with rock, full disclosure, understanding, clean hands, all these things that it currently isn't. It's been immeasurably pleasurable, but equally hard work, soul destroying, upsetting. I've swore a lot. I've had emotional ups and downs. I know you have too, but I've learned then through this sacrifice that the system. Right, me, Andy, and Kev was on a hangout. I'm going to be careful here because it isn't yet a claim, but it will be. So we was on a hangout, and someone was in a hospital. Know this, all of you, and why we are like this, because of what we see and how we see it and what goes off. And in this facade setup, security was called to a crippled beneficiary, we'll call them, a service user, patient to everyone else. And they was there for genuine reasons, and they had scans, they had x-rays, they had MRI, everything. They'd had a private assessment before, so it was previously assessed by a medical expert, and they took all that with them. Their laptop was stolen, they had security called, and then it was discharged with no work done to them, as there was fine. Turns out now, after battles on, it turns out we've got evidence to say that beneficiary service user patient that was discharged saying that they were fine wasn't fine. They've got bits missing in the body. They suffered harm, injury, and loss, and security was going to throw them out. And we've got witnesses to all of this. When they've been properly assessed later on, when we've carried on forcing it and having the sacrifice and fighting and arguing and crying, literally grown men crying here, fam. This is how personal it is. Well, privately, soul destroying. I use the word personal, but you get what I've explained that for you now. And we've got there, and we've got to a point now where we've got evidence to say that the service user beneficiary needs work doing, and he's not 100%, and he's not going to be discharged because he's getting booked in. They're getting booked in. She's getting booked in, whomever it may be. But it just know this, that me and Andy, and Kevin and you yourselves are seeing things now which are irrefutable, and you know point blank are wrong. So what the system is trying to get us to do is to fight, get yellow vests on, shout, bang. You know, Guy Fawkes was funded partly by the Astor's family and such other things as, and the other, you know, named families in the elitism there. So we're being pushed and we're being shepherded by the devil and the devil's agents, not devil's angels. The hell's angels is what my brain's doing there. The devil's angels. I'd argue that these Gaga's, House of Gaga, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Billie Eilish, or whatever this gender fluid thinking's coming now. These are all the new priests, the high priests employed by the cult of the pagan, nasty bile, system that programs you, and they have new priests and high priests. They cover their eye and they give you symbols. They let you know they're a priest. They're not shy about it. But for some reason, man keeps listening, following, and doing what idolization is it, Andy? Is it when you idolize and put others and you love them more than yourself and you scream at them and you have heart attacks? And
yes,
they're just us. Go on, over to you. I'll breathe.
Yeah. We are not to step aboard the warship. We are not to worship, and we are not to idolate. We're not to idolate any man. We are all as equal.
Not even Billy Idol.
Well, that's how it goes, mate. Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness. Ye that seek the Lord, look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and to the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you. For I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness can be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me. My nation for a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arms shall judge the people. The isles shall wait upon me, and on my arms shall they trust.
Trust.
How beautiful is that?
Wait, how beautiful is that? This is what Santos has taught me, watching some of his videos and private chats with his gnosis, comparing Andy Sovereign Smith and the Bible, Santos, and how times have changed. But seriously, you said first Abraham at the beginning, and then you said Sarah. There's cause for concern here because of the 33 vertebrae and the ascension and the 3 days of the serpent rising anointment at the top with the cross, then going over to the pineal gland for the ascension and anointment, resurrection of.
Yep.
That's all to do with what? The spine, the lumber in the spine. A bloke in America or somebody in Europe that cuts down trees is called a lumberjack. You have a lumber in your spine. You have a lungs and you have root system. You have a brain and you have a tree system with branches. Yes, the roots are down below. Perhaps the lungs could be the leaves because they breathe, and the brain could be the roots then because that's where the information, the knowledge, the tree of knowledge. So you have this system within your body. And Abraham, right, I had to say that to set you up to get this. Good Lord. Abraham and Sarah, yeah. Now, remember what I've just said about the spine and all of that, and the body and the parts of, and the serpent rising, the Kundalini anointment. And then you have a cerebrum, Sarah and Abraham. Cerebrum, Sarah, Abraham, cerebrum. I'm like, no,
because,
stop it.
listen,
this is a story that has more than 3, 4, 5. It has about 7 meanings.
Yes.
All these Bible stories, right? When you sit there and think that Jeebus was a real man and it only has one interpretation, I shit you not. It has at least 7 or up to 7, not always 7, but can have up to 7. And like my mate in Adrian, AD, in wherever he is, secret place, he says basic information before leaving Earth. And you and I have chatted about the Bible being like some kind of instrument to tell you how to get out of being bonded. It's just so many different, it's like music, it's an interpretation. Information to a reader is interpreted, and everybody has a different way, which is why we need this family to see, and help out. And well, we don't need you anymore, actually. We want you, but we don't need you because we've got everything we need finally. So happy days, brother, and thank you for that. Yeah, I'll yield again.
Lift up your eyes to the heavens, and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be for ever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be ye afraid of their revellings. For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. But my righteousness shall be for ever, and my salvation from generation to generation. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake, as in the ancient days, in the generations of the old. Art thou not in that hath cut Rahab, and wounded a dragon? Art thou not in which hath dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, that hath made the depths of the sea a way for the resumed to pass over? Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return, and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. I, even I, am he that comforteth you. Who art thou, that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the son of a man which shall be made as grass? And forgettest the Lord thy Maker, that hath stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundations of the earth, and hast feared continuously every day, because of the fury of the oppressor, if he was ready to destroy, and is the fury of the oppressor. The captive exile hasteth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. But I am the Lord thy God, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. The Lord of hosts is his name. And I have put thy words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand, that I may plant the heavens, and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. Oh, I'll tell you what, this book's just ace.
Thou art my people. I like how it ended. That's proper bow, I tell thee. My kind of people.
Mm-hmm. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. Oh, what a sentence.
Yeah,
That's chapter 15 of Proverbs, verse 12.
yeah, I see different pathway now, because whereas before it's all like doom and gloom and this, that, the other, and there's an event going off and these things are certain, and there's meteors, asteroids, Tartaria. I touched on that with the book of Daniel, and what stuff I put in there, and there's all these things to get your fear and emotion, and these events such as horrific as Grenfell, 9/11, the tube train station things, the
Well,
Boston bombings, and they want you to be in that negative fear, that because you will, as we say, magnetize that by whatever you inwardly project, you
well,
outwardly attract. So they want you to be negative, and they put these things on. But just know that this book here, from what I've done recently while Andy was out a bit on a break and whatever, when I was entertaining you with my research and correlations, is that it's written by prophets that are writing stuff before it happens and before things are even here, Andy. So when you're out there and you see all these horrific things and you start panicking and worrying and all world war and etc., just know that this consciousness father of ours, the father of man, has let us know to have the faith. He's written this in advance with the prophets, and it's 66 books I'd argue you'd need, the Dead Sea Scrolls and other such publications. But basically in this Bible, he tells you there, like I said, with the Genesis at the beginning, revealing the devil's instruments, and probably the Book of Enoch there to some extent, but the Genesis part, and then Revelations with the death and the you know, not the death, but the what is it, apocalypse that's going to be coming for the devil and Satan, and what the wrath of God. There we go, the wrath of God. So it will be happening, and in the meantime, we apparently have got to walk the path. I yield. Thank you.
A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. The heart of him that hath understanding seeketh knowledge, but the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of merry heart hath a continual feast. Better is little with fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, than a stalled ox and hatred therewith.
Dinner of herbs. Did you just say better is, sorry, better a dinner of herbs there where love is? Is that what you just
Yes,
said?
yeah,
Get in.
yes.
Thank you. I like that one. Sorry.
Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, than a stalled ox and hatred therewith.
Oh, got
A
sorry. Go on.
wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife. The way of the slothful man is as an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish man despiseth his mother. Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, but a man of understanding walketh uprightly. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counsellors they are established. A man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season, how good is it? The way of his life is above the wise, and that may depart from hell beneath. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination of the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. The Lord is far from the wicked, but heareth the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eyes rejoiceth the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat.
Yeah, I did have a little chuckle then for many reasons, but there's the herbs and the love, that's just in the same sentence. You all know where I'm going there. It's not oregano I'm thinking of, is it? And yeah, what I want to say here is that's all I've got to say about that passage. I'm just going to go easy because I, for one, have rejected, okay, the Bible. I've read it and I was into it with my mum and as a child, and I've said that previously on videos, and I'm allowed to have a think about things. I'm allowed to change my mind, especially when it's concerning man's pathway to ascension and being honourable and right. So I would leave religion to one side. That's separate. This book I have had in my life when I was younger. My mum was into Jehovah's Witnesses, and she got baptized into. I know, but still, you know, when Santos mentioned it, went easy. Oh, my mum went in that too. So it's, you know, I understand about the order and the communications and how it is and what it was and different sort compared to Christianity as such. But I says. You know, I've had this book in and out of my life, and because I couldn't understand it and I couldn't read it and I wasn't seeing the message, and I knew that, well, and I was reading it when I was little, and I thought this can't be true. When I was little, I was quite scared at school, and I went to Sunday school. Believe it or not, I actually went to Sunday school. Revelation, I know, but I did. At some point, I was quite a good lad when I was little, until a certain point. So I got scared and I didn't understand it, and I asked too many questions and he couldn't answer it at the Sunday school. So I tried to answer it myself, and I come up with 7 when I added 2 and 2. And obviously at that age, you know, you don't get it, you're not endorsed and educated enough, so there's no chance to get it. So I rejected it and picked it up, and now because of Andy and the research and other such studies that we've done that are referencing coming in the name of Christ being a redeemer, the church and the courtroom cleric yes, in a church. Clerk in the court. The court looks like what? A bit like a church. Yeah, you're right. It looks a bit old and scary, a bit like a church, old and scary. It's a boat, I know, and it's an admiralty realm, but it's similar. What colour does the priest wear of the Catholic side that's bonded us? And then black. What does the judge wear? Black. Okay. And similarities, massive ones. I'll go on forever. Oils and sails and bales, and it's all there. So
they sit on the bench. They're there to set the benchmark, and the
yes,
old
brother.
word for bench is bank. They are in there banking. It's as simple
Latin,
as that.
yeah, arbitrator. So I've got scared away, and I've thought, no, you know what? I'm not entertaining that. Oh, that's bad. But it turns out, you see, when you do come back to it, you can change your mind, and that's what I've done. I'm not saying that Christianity is the savior of man. I'm not telling you to change any of your religions. What we're saying is information and logic is falling into place, and it's standing up. And when we look at it again, it will work in our favor. So if something's going to work in your favor, get you out of bondage, arm you a bit more, and get you to the finish line, it's not just this what you need. You need a lot more of other areas, but this is the key and this is the pathway. So if you need a
This is the
protection in the
foundation.
name, yeah, it stands to reason that you've got a book there. It's in every hotel. It's in every prison, private as they are, but they give you a Bible and you go to a hotel. Why? Because people commit suicide in hotel rooms, yes, and people feel bad and they know that. So they give you a Bible. Why? Because it's your last chance. And I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but at least it's something.
Here we go.
Yeah. And I'm just like, so for those on Tube
I'm,
that say,
I'm,
wait,
I'm going to tell you a little.
Andy, those of them on Tube that remember me saying that the Bible and the stories is bullshit and wrong, I stick by that mostly, partly, some of it, because of the discovery and the cutting edge continuous improvement. It turns out there may be some truth in it, but not the truth that we think, the overall contextualization. It's not a factual depiction of historical events in my mind. I'm sorry, but that's me. And that's all I needed to say just to get that out there. For the ones that think, why have you changed, Indy, Dave, whatever, it's because of my search and discovery and my cognizance, the Hermetic principles and Hermes and Thoth and Buddha and all of this have come into play as well. It's not just come out of the Bible, but I just feel that I need to explain that I have a right to choose and it's my soul. It's not here for the channel, this soul. It's here for a job and a mission. And I'm on that job and mission for myself and my blood. You lot are my blood after my immediate blood. So thank you, Andy, for waiting. It's just I didn't have it written down and it's not easy. So, each of us are on a path. And I just needed to explain that my path has been somewhat double backed on, looped up, time warped. Thinking of Mario, little green things when you went down one and you come out levels ahead and you took them short. That's my life.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, it's not easy, and I'm allowed to do that. So that's why I've done it, and I hope that clarifies for the emails that I'm getting. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to trick anyone. I've been tricked myself, and for those that are following, lots of love and thank you for that. I hope that clears it up. Over to you, Andy.
Well, I'm going to tell you a fact, a true story. Many individuals that have told me that I have a good comprehension, I have a good understanding of the biblical text manuscript and how I perceive it and how I interpret it and put it back out there,
Yeah.
And I've been asked a little while ago, when did I very first come across it? And it was, as you say, I was incarcerated, and
I didn't say that. What do you mean?
No, they're in these establishments,
Never said. Oh, right.
The books
Yeah.
are there in these establishments.
Setting me up. Oh, sorry.
I'd done a civil infraction when I was a teenager. I'd driven some vehicles without relevant documentation.
Yeah. You've offended somebody when you was younger.
Yes. And I was incarcerated, and I had a King James Bible in the cell. And my first interaction with that Bible was when I took out to the first page of that book and infilled it with tobacco and smoked it.
At least it wasn't a joint. It was just a fag, but wow, okay.
So when they asked me what was your first encounter with the Bible, I literally ingested it.
You took it in. I took it all in.
So, and that's a true story, that is, mate. So I didn't get to read it till a few years after that because I was still young and stupid juvenile delinquent. But
Yeah,
that was my
yeah.
first proper encounter, like you said, because we're unbeknownst. We don't know its legal construct. We don't know what's what there. We just take it all as some religious nonsense that we're
But it's
indoctrinated to believe, you know.
not very cool, is it, when you're at school and there's all this rave music and dreamscape and helter skelter and ecstasy taking and weed smoking, and then you come out with your Bible. You know what's going to happen there, don't you? You're just going to get beat upon, and anybody that's got some kind of a soul or heart is in the rarity these days, because the coolness and the ego, as we've said, yeah, that takes over, and that ego overrides your self-esteem and your integrity, and then you are at the victim of your own actions, but due to peer pressure, programming, music, and fashion, and etc. Not so much religion, faith, or family ethics have come into play as well, I suppose. But they are your decisions, and as a child, your parents are responsible for you until you're 18, and then you get to 18, a magical thing happens, yeah, and then obviously 3 years later, the last chance of the three for the key, etc. Well, allegedly the last chance, you know, opportunity in law is presented. We'll say it's not your last chance, just the last legal 3 chances, 3 times. You know, this magic number three, 7, 14, and 21, allegedly. And I did see some comments I need to go back on. If you watch back, it's quite a lot happening in the chat, Andy. I need to say thank you to Albert for his sharing some and he's working on stuff. So he's trying, bless him, and thank you, brother. Thank you to all. But yeah, new scribes and old, much love to you, and thanks for all that you do and for scribing.
Thank you to everybody. Who are we without them? Who are they without us? We are as one. We're in this together.
Yes, we are the ministry of self-governing self-initiates, if you like. That's all we're doing, yeah, letting them know. And bless you, thank you. You have been missed, and you've come back with a massive effect there. The fact that I've got things that I can correlate to. Sometimes I'm just stood here or sat here thinking and making the picture, and as you're saying it, when you're finished, I'm still in the picture, and then I have to catch up, and then when the picture disappears, I forget everything, and I'm like, yeah, that's great, Andy. But tonight, it's linked in well, and the scribes, I've missed you, to be fair, and we was a bit concerned and worried due to, you know, YouTube politics and whatever. Just leave it at that, and nothing you've done, but I was just like, oh Lord, you know, while balancing and carrying on and going out, cleaning black mold, coming back, fighting black officers, black uniform officers, not the darker skinned brothers, you know, we're not like that. But yeah, it was a bit like, you know, Kev's took some time out, and me and G sorting out tech stuff on the site and progressing on forwards and finding these videos. And like I say, it's been busy, and we're in a very, very good place. And we're not in a strong enough place. I'd like to be able to lend everybody money that needs money, interest free, unlike the usurping and usury that's going off now. If our trust fund was up there, I'd like to be able to say, oh, you need some money. You need a universal basic income, do you, for a short amount of time? Well, what we can do is give you a grant, or we'll loan you this and just pay us back when you can afford it. That's what used to happen. You know, I need some money, boss. All right, Squire, how much you want? I need this much. Well, take it, pay it me back when you can. And when you pay it me back, there won't be any interest. You know, well, how long do you mean? Well, I've just said pay it me back when you can. All right, there's no time. No, there's no time. And you don't want no interest. No, we don't want no interest. Seems foreign concept, but that's how it was. So that's what I'd like to go back to, and to free everybody mentally is a start, to free them financially, fiscally, and get that pure maintenance remedy, you know. Wow, yeah, that's for you to go on though. That's not for me and Andy to give you, or SPLs. All we can do is, you know, try and help. But yeah, wow, yeah, it's a struggle, isn't it, for everybody? And I just want to say, um, it's a family effort, and it's frustrating. Trust me, it's very frustrating. It really is. We are going to get Bitcoin options on for those that are tech heads and crypto out there. Like I say, the donations, if someone gives us, you know, to the trust there, or for yourselves, well, if you want to get my head around this, there's a lot of noise being made at the minute, but it's digital, it's an energy, it's a charging type system, it's everything that's like, I don't know, kind of dark in a way to interface with it all. You know, I don't think it's right. London, America, Bond Street, you know, and a stock market, Shanghai, New York Stock Exchange, everything, that's how it runs. Singapore port is allegedly owned by English, Anglo, you know, UK. running
It's
and
all
managing it. It's a lot of money
it's
out
all
there.
it's all obfuscation, mate, and subrogation. That's what it all boils down to. And I've got a nice little quote here on my screen. It says, "We worship Jesus instead of following him on his same path. We made Jesus into a mere religion instead of a journey toward union with God and everything else.
Oh,
This
wow.
shift made us into a religion of belonging and believing instead of a religion of transformation. Christ is to be sought neither in the wilderness nor in the inner chambers nor in the sanctuary of any temple or church built by man. For Christ is the true esoteric Saviour, is no man but the divine principle in every man." How's that?
Yes, you shouldn't go round. Yeah, others have said, but I just can only hear Santos when he says Jesus coming down from the clouds to save you. It's like that's what we mean. It's the Sarah Abraham, the cerebrum. I'm not saying it's right. It's an interpretation. It's a discovery. It's a doctrine of, and you need to open up a little bit and go on your own. And when them pennies drop, and when you go out there and you practice this is the part then of being Jesus, going out there. I'm not saying I am and Andy is. God Lord, no, I would never dream of that. We get shot down in a second, and we're not. But we are in the image of, and we're as powerful as. So if there was any messages by these agents of aliens, God, Jesus, disciples, Anunnaki, Nephilim, whatever, all and above and previous, then we should just we're getting pushed in a pathway, a direction of which looks nasty, evil, futile, full of credit. Look at China. Look at the poor little. I'm going to call them a word that I shouldn't, because I think they are actually legally. They could be that word, but I won't say it. It's not racist, right? It's just a bit controversial. But they are poor little, you know, fuckers, because they haven't allowed, but it has come in a communist environment that they now have got that point system where you can't do certain things if you credit. That's not right. That they need help. But no, Palestine, Israel, Jerusalem, but all around there need help. Syria eating babies because they are starving. I'm telling the Romans, when they come back to the second battle and they surrounded the city of David in Jerusalem, and they were said they had to lock the doors, and nothing could come in, but equally nothing went out, and there was no trade, and so they allegedly ate the babies there. Mums choosing. I think I'd rather starve. I don't know if these are true. I weren't there, but these things happening now in the realm. It's slapping us in the face, and it's like you sit down tucking into your KFC at home with the news on, watching all of this as if it's normal, and it's like it's prolific end time storytelling on the news, which not really stories, they're more like murders and sacrifices that we're seeing as we're tucking into tea of an evening from coming back from your indentured trust setup. So I'm sorry, it's really bad. It is everywhere. It's not even funny. It's not even, the children assets are coming out saying we got 10 years before the Earth's dead. David Attenborough's told everybody allegedly you got 10 years, and then which coincides with Diane Jesse Miller, one by one, Rick Mayall's message of the agenda that is happening. So if ever you've wondered what time is it, it's about 2 seconds to midnight on the doomsday clock. Sorry, I can only laugh. It appears, it isn't. It appears it may well be.
No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it.
And those that cause the problem should be part of the solution. You see, this is, as well as it, and we have caused the problem indirectly through the way that things are set up.
Allowing it to go, you see.
And
when you function from love, your inside creates your outside. When you function from fear, your outside creates your inside.
Let's just think, wait, because you do this and we just quickly move on. That's lovely. That is. Where's that from? Is that a quote?
Yeah.
Is that Smithy logic?
So it's one of the things I had in my a quote I read a long time ago. It's just stuff that sticks with me. And when you do function from love, your inside does create your outside, because your inward manifestations outwardly attract. That's magnetism. That's the laws of nature. And when you are functioning from fear, your outside does create your inside, because you're allowing it in.
So, right, and I'm going to go a bit deeper now. Agreed. Law of attraction, power of intent, mind over matter, etc. So, unfortunately, remember, God's overseeing this situation. This one of these millions that are going off now. Somebody in their younger life, when they're a minor, ends up getting horrifically abused. And you can imagine, we just leave it at that, and they grow up and they haven't been properly looked after in this healthcare system of ours, which is inadequate to say the least, you know, and I'll leave it at that. And they've grown up to be an adult, for want of better words, in a legal, medical, public UK system. This is where we are. So they're an adult, and they've been, you know, severely fractured as a younger child minor. And now, through no fault of their own, completely innocent is this brother or sister here, right? We'll say there's two. There's a brother and a sister. We'll make it equal. They've both been, and you know, they are brother and sister, literally from the same family, genetically related, and they've both been, you know, scarred, and they've come up and they're adults, and by no means of their own, and no doing, and innocently, they project what Andy's just said: fear, and negativity, and hatred, and resentment, and anger. I'm going Master Yoda now, but I've done it enough times. You can hear that voice there of what it does, that system of, and they want that. And that's why the system is badly treating us, and we have to find it within us. When I say it's in the communities and the resources, and while he was away, Andy, I propose that every street should have a trustee, either like a little Sandra, Big Barry, Big John, or a couple of them. And instead of when we get drunk and we fall out, we go to the appointed street trustee. This would require documentation. I'm not just saying, you know, we set it up and willy-nilly, because we need the boys in blue and the crown to recognise this. And we're not doing it, you know, on the back of a postage stamp or on a napkin. We'd set up community resources and a structure, and we'd function it like that. So, you know, there's a million and one things here we could angle off that at, but you know, we are recognising this. We have the answer, and it's all with us. Bottom line, again, though.
Well, for me, it's like this. If you understand that everything is energy, you can also understand that everything you think, believe, and feel consists of energy. Your attitude or your focus vibrates, and those vibrations affect the quantum fields that underlie, constitute, and determine the outcome of physical matter. Hence, your focus actually has the power to alter the appearance of your physical circumstances. Whew, I love it, I tell you.
Yeah, so the quantum field, Greg Braden, the divine matrix, that's been proven, and this brother and sister that are now getting a horrific life bestowed before them on their pathway to, is because they are inwardly projecting negativity. They are outwardly attracting all of the demonic, satanic, negative, horrible situations in life. We've all been there. We've all had this curse put upon us. Murphy's Law, we've called it. Well, no, not due to the hermetic systems and principles and natural law and so forth. So when I say natural law, what Andy's on about, subatomic and quantum, divine, natural, you know, photons, atomic. And if they
protons and electrons, baby.
If that brother and sister finds a channel like us by chance, or another channel, or somebody being positive, and they start being positive at some point in their life, and they break the chain, what happens then is their lives turn around. Not because they've had their hand out, but they've had to go out. Unfortunately, as it is, when it's painted the other way, a bit like being innocent until proven guilty. So, you know, unfortunately, we go there for help, and it's like a triangle of doom. So if you could have a triangle of doom, I don't know. But these two brother and sister, they find it and they work it and they come out of it and they break it. Their life will change. But unfortunately, they've had to bring themselves out of their own personal hell that they were trapped up in. And it wasn't their fault. So wherever we go, these things are great, and you can do this and you can do that. Know that there are many innocent out there that are in a world of nasty loopage of you know, self-inflicted to some extent, but not inflicted, not initiated by them, but perpetuated by them. And I think, for one, that you've got the most high creator, Elohim, all of them, you know, God's looking down, and they allow this to happen. Why? Because you need to grow, and you need to, some rebirth, this comes into it now, and they say that these spirits that are reborn into this realm, that come in for this game of life, are the ones that, when they get, like, I'm sorry to say this, but it's research shows in the esoteric realm that these souls are required to learn this lesson, because in their past life, that's what's dictated this life. So whatever we're doing in this life, and however you are, your experiences allegedly, are because you need to go on it, and you need to have this, not because you're unlucky, or because they're lucky. The ones, you know, there is fraud and deception, and those that gain that head start and get above us through the, you know, international institution of affairs, you know, the British Internal Institution International Affairs, aka the UK Masonic Society, and so forth. They have pacts and covenants, and they try and balance it, like putting on the tobacco, it will kill you, and putting on the alcohol, drink sensibly, gamble sensibly. You know, when people, Matthew in Sheffield said to me the other day, brother, sisters, when people that worship Satan and the dark side make food, make programs, make everything, what do you think they're going to do to the ones, the innocent ones out there, the flock? They're going to give them the satanic, nasty, horrible, negative side of their, because they're the ones making the program. They worship Satan, allegedly, most of them, not all. Don't get me wrong, not all in the commercial realm are like this, but a good 80%, all in the political realm, have been bought over. The media, the banking, there's certain bits. Benicia saying that, brother. Benicia should have saying he's got evidence handed by a police. There's good ones out there in a corrupt system, but they're very few, and they can't make it without us, to some extent. You see, so it is. It's very interesting, you know, when you look at it like that. Again, that's just my opinion and my view. You can see it how you want. Indeed. But some bits have been proven, though. When I say that, some of these bits have been proven, the scientific parts of how we speak and the interconnectivity, reactions, and relativity, Andy. So, yeah, I like that. I like it a lot.
What is, mate. We can only endeavour to do what's right and proper, can't we? You know, and in our search and diligence, it's just bringing up what we're speaking of. We're lucky. So,
Yeah, we
right
are.
then. So, I didn't realise it was that time of the night, and it's bloody 1:15. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to call it an evening this evening and spread my peace and love to everybody and thank them for listening to me this day and taking their time with me. And hopefully catch up again soon. We can do it more regular now. I have a bit more time on my hands, but I didn't realise that time of the night, and with it being, well, another pagan Dad's Day tomorrow, I've got to travel about and meet offspring and do what's right and proper for that pagan day. So it means nothing to me, but that they're all into it, so I'll acquiesce to keep them happy.
Yes, I'll have Yanka will be no doubt giving me a homemade card, I think, or something present. And yeah, we're right. It's this is where we're at, cutting edge re-evolution of our current understanding and what we do. And your acts and your executions, you're not doing acts anymore because they're for persons and masks and personas. We're doing deeds and we execute them as men, as women, and forget the sovereign. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do, and yeah, it's not our fault, but you know, we didn't start the fire. It's been burning since the earth's been turning, kind of. So on that front, yeah, respect and go on.
Since since whenever before cornflakes and after cornflakes, it's been going on, hasn't it? You know, so exactly.
Who sung that? Who was it? Billy Joel or someone? Who was that artist? It's been burning since the earth's been turning.
You tell me, you're the DJ.
I know, that's what I mean. It's I can't think. Blank out. I'll look at the comments in a bit. Somebody will get it. But I'll just say, happy Sunday tomorrow. The Sunday, day of suns and so forth. So son of man, you're going to get celebrated tomorrow while your queens, princesses, and etc. So I say to you, Andy and scribes out there, to the males this time, and it's not being sexist because it's for tomorrow. Then all men out there, love your family, spend the day with them just for the sake of it. Yeah, if you can. Hopefully the Chelsea bun will come out. Yeah, it's gone very fast tonight, Andy. It's been absolutely incredible. Thank you very much. Love to you and your family. And I'll carry on with the scribes. I've got the comments to go through. I'll be another hour at least.
Okay, mate. Well, I can just hang on in there a little while. You know, I'm just saying that I've travelled many miles. So I've been up north of the country. I've travelled back down south again. You know, single father, got it all to do. I've got my offspring at home, and they're going to be coming around to meet me. And I'm not sure what the plan of action is. I'm spread very thin as it is. I'm trying to please everybody, publicly, privately. It's much to do. Many people are pulling and pushing at the moment to get a piece of me. It's beautiful, it's overwhelming, it's humbling, but it's somewhat stretching. And you know, I can only go so far, can't I? I'm only one man, but love to everybody. I'll do what I can, you know, and we'll get this nut cracked, mate. We'll need to get to do what we're doing at the private realm at the High Court, and then we'll evoke some type of template or something for this, and we'll roll it out that way. I think would be the way, because we can't keep on going what we're doing, because we're going to run out of energy before we're 50, and I'm nearly that age before you. So before you start any jokes.
Yeah, easy. I'm feeling, man's feeling 50. We've got the second stage of you see these gemstones and the videos and everything that's out there is all focused on constitutional United States. You know, they've got the word grantor in there, and they picked up from grantor settler and stuff. I'm not having a go again. I'm just saying that the fundamentals are that everything they've got out there, YouTube and everybody else and us, is all to do with New Zealand, America, Canada, UCC, constitution, ecclesiastical, live life, blah, 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 mixed jurisdictions. And there is no true path out there yet. There is a couple of proposed ones, and there are a lot of reasons to be concerned. And we haven't got everything right, and we will redact and make amends. So we've got the second level of the the educational platform to bring out on the the guild, the masters guild. That's what we want you to be, masters. So yeah, we're going to go public to private, and we're going to do that very soon, and we'll be putting it out there, and it'll all be documented. It will be done, tried and tested, and the lack of us being in the public will tell you many things. When man says he's got remedy and he's going wherever, then he will go wherever, and out of due obligation. Because listen, before you go, Andy, if you're in a battle and you're in a public battle, it's like it is said in one of them videos, and I'll reference it because it's quite articulate. It's like coming to a truce and everybody meeting in the middle, and then somebody is shaking hands and making the agreement, and then later on going back and attacking the army, while no one's got the guns up, and killing them all. You can't do deals and business. Now, when you say, you get the remedy and you go private, and you whatever the remedy may be, it's not just the remedy. I'm on about any. You don't go always shouting about it, because that's the terms and the conditions. It's not a weakness. And when you're in a battle, and we've proven to you it's a battle, do you really want to go and get chopped down again just to go and save a few hundred that are going to laugh at you and blah, blah, blah? And no, you don't. So this is why they don't come back to save the rest. So it's probation, is what Andy's saying, is over, and the time of action is now. We'll help you as best as we can. We're not obliged to, we're not obligated to, but again, we are under the covenant of the family, of the hood, if you, for want of a better. So respect for saying that, Andy. I, for one, am feeling it too. I can't answer every email, do every job. We have to prioritize and order until we get the the councils and everything set up that we need, the community, the resources, the networking and the belief. I think they believe in us. I know they love us. So it's just a matter of how we proceed to go. And tomorrow I've got a couple of important things to do. So I'm looking forward to
proof's in the pudding, isn't it? Proof's in the pudding, man, when it comes to believing.
Tomorrow's a big day for me. I think it might be a big day for you. We've got I've got a private line to look at, and it's one of the biggest ones I've done, the result wise. So I'm hopefully going to come back grinning and set up for the rest of this year. I can't say publicly because it's private, but you'll find out eventually. It'll be shared. But I'm looking forward to spending time with the fam, and the appointment tomorrow. To go and see. I might be speaking in front of quite a few people and family, and forging new foundations of solid tungsten to build upon.
Very nice.
That knows, Andy, that knows.
Of course I knows. So, right then, that's me. I'm going to call it an evening.
Thank you, and bless.
Send my love and blessings to you all. Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me on, Dave. Thank you for everybody listening and sharing their time with me and listening to my babble. What it means to me is a great deal. What it means to you, I don't know. Take it and run with it and see what you can do. It's brought me much joy and those around me. So thank you, everybody. Peace and love, and catch you soon.
Nice one, brother. Thank you. See you later.
Okay, bro. Bonjour, mate.
Much love. Ciao, bello. So then, scribes, it's just the two of us. Oh no, actually there's more than you, but there's me in the phone, so there's two of us now. That realm. I'm going to read out your comments shortly. I know it's been a long one, but it needed to be done. There's a lot of information come out there tonight. Hope you've got your pens and pads. hope you've enjoyed hearing Andy's voice. There's a certain resonance of which is not to be duplicated. It can't be duplicated. There's only one. Characters are characters, letters, characters. I'd say personalities, persons, no. The type of man that you are, you know, you're very unique. I've traveled around the realm. Let me tell you this. Traveled around the realm, and you will have done this too, many of you. And you bump into somebody, they're like a Spanish version of your best friend, or a Greek version, or a Romanian, or wherever country you might be in. I was in Hungary last year, and there's an old DJ I used to know, and I bumped into somebody in the street quite by chance, and I said, sorry, Bachana, yeah. And I looked round and I thought, good Lord, my friend. And I was like waiting for him to recognize me, and then I was like, no, it isn't. It's just a doppelganger. But when you do meet folk and you don't know them, and they happen to resemble somebody that you know, and they happen to have similar characteristics. My mate Dave, everyone's got a mate Dave. Meet someone else called Dave, you know, Disco Dave. Good Lord, how many Disco Daves are there on this realm? At least 100,000, you know. But everybody says, oh, you just like my mate Dave. I've got a mate Dave like you. I'm like, what do you mean? We're all the same. Do you think God made Daves, and he made Sandras, and he made Susans, and he made Steves and Ians and Andys, and he just made them all the same and then scattered them about, and a mixture of all names. He didn't base man's, you know, capabilities and personalities, characteristics, actions, and, you know, empathy, love on names. But it appears, you know, you can travel around this realm and see someone who's a doppelganger of your mate on another continent, speaks another language, but when you get to know them, you're like, actually, you're just the same, almost like you're cloned. Going on here, but they've got different fingerprints, different DNA. It's like we're all split up, and you know, I believe there can only be so many types, so many different types. But when it comes to consciousness, consciousness is shared. Consciousness are Akashic records, and the 0.0 of all information and data. That's interesting, very interesting. It is alleged that every thought, action, piece of information, deed, doing, you know, a historical event, past, previous, present, future, the full shebang is in that 0 point field. The Akashic records are also Edgar Casey, the Sleeping Prophet. So now, your characters, your conscience, separate things, mind, body, and soul. Brain is just an organic, you know, bit of matter that controls the motor functions of the actual body. Whether or not the consciousness, the thinking, and everything else they say that goes off in there is going off in there, I don't know. But the consciousness movement is how you see yourself and think of yourself and regard yourself and value yourself and defend your rights. Rights easily done. If you've watched a few of these videos and been around the same realms and read a few publications and got your head around the words. But life, the right to life is where we're at now. Okay, as you can see, the right, you know, to life. That's what's being denied on a mass level, or that's being neglected. Oh my goodness, it says block user actions. I may have accidentally pocket blocked somebody. Let me press back up. I don't know what name that's on. Let me turn my screen up. Get some comments in. Thank you for your time tonight, Scribes, as ever. Well appreciated. Much love. Get the live chat. There we go. Here we got John, Jerry, Lisa, Jesus, Albert, Irish Gale Force, S. I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to work from the top. Agreed, Jerry says. I'm just going to skim. I'll go quiet while I skim, and I'll pick out any questions, anything that's important. Thank you to brother Andy once again. Respect, brother Albert. Nice one. Linking up. You're welcome, Irish. You're all welcome. We love you because you love us. You are us. We are you. Look at the Blue Man Group. Stupid. Your dad says he's all right for young. In what ways? Good advice there, JJ. Stand back from the television. Indeed. Irish is in deal. I cracked it. Billy Joel. Get in, it was. Was it really? God Lord, look at that for program. I haven't heard that for so long. I did never hear We Didn't Start the Fire. It's been burning since the earth's been turning. You've got to go to bed now. And this song music's going to be stuck in your head as you try to go to sleep. You got the voice of Dave playing this old song in your stupid consciousness. It's a funky tune, you'll be hearing it soon. But move. I'm so bad, aren't I? Sorry, but it's that simple. Your brain is that simple. Next hangout, how many scribes out of the ones on the replay you can be included because programming can be done via recordings as well, as you know, forwards, backwards, reverse. I'm glad it was Billy Joel, but I'm equally saddened at that as well. Just goes to show you, if you repeat stuff and you repeat stuff, you think you can't learn anything. Okay, yes you can. You keep repeating it, and that's what they do in the academies and trusts. Or are you really learning anything, or are you being force fed bad stuff to repeat? And when you see them adverts and you see these things on TV in the programs such as EastEnders, Coronation Street, oh man, I used to watch Hollyoaks, and thinking back, that was just horrific. Soft porn murder every night at tea time, to be fair. So yeah, they know, and now you know. You're forewarned is forearmed. We have to be on the last generation. There's too many waking up on the sons of Aquarius. As Santos says, the age of spirit. Yes, I like that. You might have to be a moderator, Irish Gale Force, with a comment like that. Definitely no shill or troll could speak that way. A bit late. Attention, what's going on here? I'm in the middle-ish now. Working way up. Hausberg's law, atomic and energy law, bit weird. Oh, autonomy. That's why you have Gray's autonomy. Atom, all is atom. They don't hide it very well, do they, JJ? Wonder, well, from history, don't know many that have defeated China for 1,000 years of doing something and population increasing. Yeah, they've got control, Honda. That's what they've got there, fam. They got control. They ain't got respect. They've got fear. They're using the force of nature. Nature's force. No, they're not. They're using AI. Look how good AI could manage. Have you seen how accurate that AI system is? It's absolutely incredible to the detail. They can find anybody. Matt in Sheffield and the researchers told me in 10 minutes in China. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's healthy. It's great if you're using it for safety reasons. I can't think of a Chinese name without being slightly racist or something. Where's Bruce Lee? He's a famous actor of mine. There we go. I ain't seen him for a bit. Where is he? Well, he went a mountain climbing up over there, and big Chinese mountain, which I can't think of a name for. Yeah, that's okay. And okay, we'll use the system. We'll find him. Oh, yes, he's over there. He hasn't moved for 2 days. We'll send a helicopter and relief team and some drones, and we'll get him sorted out. That's all fine and great. But it's for fines, feeds, forfeits, and not nice reasons that they have the AI. Spanction. To be spanctioned is why they have the AI. To spanction you. Lifting the lid. What? Lifting the lid. Hello there. It's as far up as I can go with the live chat. So if you've asked a question or you need anything answering, ask it again. If I've said something you don't agree with and I can't see the comment, then I can't respond because until I get to my laptop, it shows me at midnight lifting the lid, and that's it, live chat. So thank you all. No, I wear a dress. No, I wear dresses and something. Okay, JJ. Each to their own. Thank you for that. back to the bottom. Shadow to the dynamics in the house. Easy, brother. Good to see you. Nice to see you, nice. Been watching on the PlayStation as long as you've been watching. Nice one, brother. Good to see you. How you doing? So by the best and still learning. We're all still learning. We're all going back and relearning, rubbing bits out and editing. Agreed. Jurisdiction, diction, Riz. Thank you, John. Every day is a learning curve. It is indeed. Sometimes in a representative capacity, sometimes in a non-representative capacity, sometimes in Surrey juris, prior persona, but to pick up a penguin, make sure you get that one right. Prior persona, Surrey juris, in pro se, prosecution. Know your words. It's been a fantastic since 2000 and what was it now, when when did I watch John Harris at that chat with the British Constitution talk. Reality is it's an illusion. Since that day, that great day, you know, there's certain things, and if I've watched a video of mine or a hangout or something like that and you've been inspired and you know, you're happy to carry on watching and promote and share and we've helped you or you've lost the fear, then that's all it takes. And be that, like I say, to have that faith and to go out there, put yourself out there, get under attack, make mistakes, look like an idiot, get accusations, defamation, besmirching, you know, slander, character. To a certain extent, you can let most of that slide. You can try and defend it, and to some extent, you waste your energy on negative ones, so you just let it slide, and then it's seen as that you're guilty. If you fight them, you invest all your energy into them, and you're seen as losing a, you know, a valid battle here. And you know, it's just you have to know sometimes how things are and how they're geared up against you. And you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Well, that's not quite true. That is not quite true. Fantastic where we've been, all that's out there. What Andy brings, synchronicities. That book, it tells you in advance to the pinpoint accuracy. This is what my logical, well, if you can call it logical, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but my discovery and research has shown me that it always comes back to the same things. And it's like, hang on a minute. It's like the same gang has made the same plan in various areas of life, and it's all linking back to the same pathway of answers to language using instrument statuses, declarations, and knowledge, faith, deliverance in the name of Christ. What? I know, but there you go. You haven't had it fair. And like I say, none of you have willfully signed up for an army. If you're wearing a dog tag, I'd rip it off and chuck it in the bin, to be honest. And if you've ever wore a dog tag, like I used to when I was a DJ and stuff, I was, oh God, Lord, how, you know, wow, army, combatant, wards of the state, wardens, okay? When you get them wardens out there in the wards, looking out for the wards of the state, you get stewards. It said with the MTV music, Ariana Grande, whoever it is, like there's many of them, Miley Cyrus, Michael Jackson, the Pepsi generation, all of the others that have passed and present and to come, and the gender fluid generation, you know, they're there to steward you. They're priestesses and priests in the new realm. They're blessed and given an order. They've got black equity cards. They want for nothing. They're protected. They're immune to the law as long as they do their job. Yeah, they've sold the soul to the devil and they will go to the recycle bin, and for recycle when their time comes, no matter what they try and do to redeem. That's how I believe it. That's written in any law book or publication. But for the rest of us, the path that you tread, what you do, you've got to treat your mind. Buddha, never let anybody walk through your mind with dirty shoes. Why? Because they will leave footprints in your mind, won't they? Yeah, like I say, programmers and the makers of that worship and function with the same methodology as that tunnel that they opened and celebrated in Switzerland or wherever it was. And that other scribe said on the hangout, did you see the opening ceremony and the demonic dark things that they had? And it was all a bit weird. And I'm like, yes, we did. Oh, wow. You will find your discovery. These things are written there. And it's not for us to tell you how to interpret and how to think and how to act and what to do. It's our duty and obligation to let you know what we know. You are to take that and do with it. If there are mistakes, errors and omissions in the commercial capacity, we'll look at resolving and sorting that out. We're continuously improving. We are men of honor. We are made of honor. Okay, like when you get married and you have a maid of honor, and she's the one that would look after your sisters and help you planning and make sure it goes smoothly, faultlessly. She's the one you can shout at and blame everything on when it goes wrong as well. Well, play on words, homophone is what these words are. When you have maid of honor, or no, sorry, homophone is like C, the word C, as we brought to you, the letter C, and how it all phonically sounds the same, but physically written down chronologically, it's different. Alphabetically, using the characters, characteristically, it is different. You can see the differences in the characters, so the words are different, but they sound the same when you pronounce them. Homophones. I've said that quite a while before. They did cover that in the collection of them 21 controversial but insightful videos of Gemstone, homophones, and these linkages of the words there. The key to the way that they get you. It's the cognitive dissonance, which is basically like rohypnol. They've given in the water system now, you've got this rohypnol. Hypothetically speaking, this isn't a claim, but equivalent to walking through somebody's mind, the cognitive dissonance, the way that it is, the lack of the debased language, and the fundamental bullshit parables of the Law Society, the Temple BAR of London. So it's no wonder, we are this way. These things have happened. Whether or not, somebody's going to come down and rectify this for us, I don't think. Stories and agendas that others are putting out there that are going to be happening soon, of death, misery, pestilence, sorrow. I don't know. Planets, zodiacs, astrotheological, look at stuff that's solid and that's part of the continuum of our timeline and history of these 4 dimensions as we know it. And that's all you can do. And as fast as we're trying to learn it, it's being deleted. And we have had to make some amendments and some corrections because it's just not straightforward, as you can see, and you can't trust very many. But by becoming a secured party creditor, or by filling out a live life claim and going through UCCs and so forth, you are not quite correcting everything. When you come to pass, if you've done stuff wrong, it's according to the Egyptian god and tales and philosophy and mythology, Anubis weighs up the hearts and so forth. I'm not saying you have to be Egyptian to believe this or whatever, but it was different gods and different continents, different philosophies, different afterlife extensions of, but they chariots of fire for the heaven. They believed in putting their bodies and mummifying them and so forth and so on. They had quite a good insight into things. And as for this man who weighs up the hearts and the soul, a nice philosophy, very nice, and you need to pay your way in the afterlife, certain things like that. And these lot know this, that's why it's hidden from you. That's why it's written in the Bible in different ways. It's written all across the world. Whichever way you look at it, it's there, and there's a message. ignore it and you succumb, then, you know, ignorance is bliss. Well, for so long, yeah, till you end up the victim of, when we say victim, legal infractions, offences, or maybe you've been given the wrong drug by a trust because they're understaffed and the budgets and the austerity and so forth and Brexit, and there isn't any drugs. There's no drugs for you. You're going to have to wait 6 months for that cancer treatment that you urgently need. What? But I'm urgently needing it. Yes, well, the legal system's in a bit of a bind, and financially and commercially, you know, X, Y, and Z. We've had you know, the equivalent of the honey monster running the United Kingdom, who doesn't listen to anybody and glorifies himself. I'm sure you can work out who the honey monster might be. Bam, yes. Personally, I think it might be Esther that gets in just because of the name and the connection with the certain things that I know. Don't quote me on that, but that's just farcical. I'll end it with this. They were warned, allegedly. I haven't got the evidence, but I believe the UK government was warned. Thank you, Loki, and all the London massive for famalan for what you're doing down there. I can't, Adam and Eve, what you've brought out. The fact that they're now having to put signs with lights on massive buildings to tell the UK government there's a problem makes my shit itch. I'm sorry to offend if I do and curse. So the point being, it is allegedly put out there. Some might say, let's go Clarkson. Some might say the United Kingdom government has warned about the dangers at Grenfell and all the other high rise owned by and run and maintained as stock holding, you know, as they are doing, because they don't own it, we own it. And they were warned about the dangers and the cladding and so forth, and they did nothing. Then the travesty happened. RIP once again to the families and ones affected by the deaths that happened there. It still turns out to the front runners of the United Kingdom, when they're having this debate on TV with the Conservatives and XXY, who should be the new front runner and so forth. Just have this in your mind that we're 2 years on, all right? And there's public and private funded, public and private owned houses in London that have not been repaired, have not been modernised, so they're no longer a hazard when a fire breaks out. They've still got flammable, allegedly, some might say, it appears, I'm making a claim because of the liabilities on the UK government, but it appears that we may have not actually done all those repairs. If we haven't done all those repairs, why have we not done all those repairs to the front runners that are potentially wanting to take Trees and Dismay's job? The Trees and Dismay, to Queen Elizabeth, Battenberg, Windsor, elite, dukes, anybody out there that's got a soul and a heart, answer, riddle me this, to quote Matthew in Sheffield, because we're in commerce, because it's public, because you're disposable, because they don't care, because we're in austerity, because you don't know who you are, because you speak the wrong language, because you're subjects of, whatever the reason of the above and many more that I cannot be asked to say, is the fact remains, we have intellectually, you know, privileged ones that we've appointed to run and manage, and for some reason they couldn't run a bath. And what does that tell you? They're doing it badly because they're told to do it badly, and they're indemnified. How are they indemnified, you ask? Well, they just step out of office, basically, and another goon, android, AI program, clone robot takes over. And when they commit manslaughter, murder, theft, deception, whatever, they step out and another one comes in. Boris Johnson and David Davis stepping out of potentially what I argued at the time when I covered it, the country's most important negotiations since the end of the Second World War. And the boys left it, you know, high and dry. That's our landmass, England and Wales, physically masquerading as the United Kingdom, with these franchises of the United Kingdom as the all caps that we're sat in. And it's like, oh, for the love of, you wonder why we don't go down this political route. It's because it's a waste of time. It's got to go, all of it. Jack Fresco, this shit's got to go. It's got to go. But we're not saying everything as we know it's got to go. But the Grenfell, what a joke. What a joke. An absolute an investment in development and land and opportunity. My heart goes out to every single family. I will apologise on behalf of us that cannot act, that refuse to act, that will not act, that don't know how to act because persons act. What we've got to start doing is executing our will, our deed, our intent. We've got to start becoming the men of the realm, the woe men, the womb men, and we've got to instruct and compel and hold to account, like what's happening in the financial realm with the turn up of the failure of legal and due process, when it turns out mortgages have some mortgages, a few mortgages, quite a lot, whatever, thousands potentially. That's conservative. And the failure there and the wool over the eyes, it's not until man has the ability to point out the failure, the injustice, some possibly often criminality, and hold them to account, prove it. And when you prove it, you hold them to account, then you get your chance, when you handle it right, to get the compensation for the, sequences of the consequences. So yes, the sequences after the con. And quite often, you'll come up trumps, but it's not easy. It's a long battle. You shouldn't have to do that, but that's how it works. Okay, so the system is that way. The law is that way. The legal code, well, that's just it's just there to bedazzle you and to look nice. Simply, I'm gonna have a look at your comments, and then we go in because it is 10 to 1. Saturday neat. We've covered everything. Andy's back, and we're happy to hear him. We wish him love, respect. If you're still here listening, Andy, or you're about anywhere on the replay, you are a true brother in every sense of the word. I wish I could help you all. The trust would be able to, function, and whatever we've got, trust in itself. We've explained how trusts work and the elevation and the many and various now. So hopefully you're using trusts well, you're using them in the community without paper, just verbally. And our word is our bond. That's how you do that, okay? Because your word is your bond. In the beginning, there was the word. The word is important, your vibration, all of this. You see how it ties in? Everything is linked. It comes back to the Occam's razor of all things, where the simplest route is often the way that we will take. Why? Because science teaches us that. Why do we do science? Because we're in the scientific realm, operates on laws of fundamental principles that will not be changed. If you fight them and don't use them, then you'll get nowhere. If you use them and go into the jet stream, pa-ching, turbo, warp speed, ended up in a new universe here. What do you mean there's no sound? You can't hear my voice. We only talk with thinking. Great. No more sore voices. Seminars for 24 hours. Shut Dave's voice off. We can't. You just come straight in your brain. What? Yes, you've got to detune. How do I detune? Well, you've got to. You know what I mean? So, warp speed, slipstreams, going places that are familiar or unfamiliar. You get boosted down there. That's what we're here to do. When you get there, you've still got a fair bit of work to do, all right? You've still got to man your corner, defend these trusts, your rights, life, the claim of life. I don't think I've seen one of them except in the commercial live life claim. Your rights are there. You've been awarded them, given them. You were born with them. Birthed? No. Born? Yes, with them. Birthed? Then you were given rights because you're a citizen or a person. Sovereign citizen. Sorry to go from Grenfell to a bit, whatever, but that's inexcusable. I've covered it. I've said enough. There's nothing else to say on that. Failure, get out. We could do a better job. You're rubbish. I'm going to be careful for liability, but there's a whole lot more that I want to say that Loki and others on the documentary side have said it. So I applaud and concur. And if I can be of help in any way over the summertime or something, while the times are a bit, freer, then I will be, and we will help. As you can see, there are instruments and ways and courts and systems and things to get your own way and get it done. It's it really is. But as for sovereign and sovereign citizen, the word is written well over many different continents and expressions of, and the word sovereign, going back to itself, it basically would have become self-governing and free, private, righteous, and the way that you manage insolvent and solvent, okay, insolvency, bankruptcy. We've already covered this. There's nothing new, but in them 21 videos, you will hear the narrator, who I won't bother naming. You can work that out and find it out for yourself. From Gemstone, saying about the sovereignty and the fact that you signed up as a militant combatant under the assumption and presumption. I don't necessarily agree with all of that there, but I do believe in this word, and I'm not going to rename the website or delete it, or I'm going to backtrack or anything. But what I will say is, going forward, because of the deep concern and the attack on this very word, itself, and the status, standing, incapacity, is something I brought out well before these videos were shown to me in our own publication. It is a key part of that, and you will hear it echoed and mimicked around. You will need to adjust depending on your continent, these procedures and pathways, but we will be able to streamline that and sort it out. It's all very well and good, but while the Americas and so forth are, different continents have different management, different interfaces, different code system, different felonies, different laws, different states. Wow, even Scotland's different to mainland Anglo England, and it's just mind-boggling. On some fronts, we do need a universal new world one thing, but not the way they want, with this AI-controlled China sacrifice, human manslaughter via AI deceptive microchip. There's no din-dins for you, because Pentium says no, computer says no. Walliams, the film's easy, what he's doing, he makes me, oh, God, Lord. So, dangers of calling yourself sovereign. No danger, it's just like calling yourself a free man, just like calling yourself a living body and flesh. It's offensive to all, but whatever, Gemstone, you are in that assumed, deceived position of militant, belligerent, combatant of such and such with whatever. Nobody signed up for that. Nobody's down with that. The ones that repent it and know it, yes, dissolve that trust instantly, express it verbally, and it's gone. So it isn't so much as an established, irrevocable trust, is it? And it isn't done with knowledge and consent and disclosure, is it? No and no. So when man stands there and says, I man under God, am self-governing and righteous, i.e. sovereign, you can't say that. You can't. Basically, Gemstone is saying no man can do anything on this realm until you go through this status standard and capacity correction. And then you could put, what did we print and give to you for free at the beginning of this year on our first year anniversary of splspro.com? We gave you the foundational key competence masters coursework there for you to follow for free, to give you the balls, to test the calls, to testify what was going down and how to do it as best as we saw it. And that wasn't legal advice. That was our research and discovery from 10 years or so, from the video that I saw with John Harris at the Constitution right until now, from everything and everywhere that may be relevant, and put to you for free. So we put down the title of the first civil judicial template, free document for your consideration only, not legal advice. And it was entitled what? Status, standing, and capacity. Now, I, man, David, have not seen any video or any other publication in the free man article YouTube realm entitled Status, Standing, and Capacity, and with an outlay of which we have put. So I put it back to Gemstone narrator there, and the consciousness behind that quite, somber, negative, nasty jibe at anybody that may, like myself, have the bollocks testifying here in a public notice, so to speak, in this episode edit of. I can see how I am and how others are, and my blood is. And that's because they didn't willingly, knowingly entice themselves into a contract with the devil. And there is a way out of this, as we see it. And the devil, as I've pointed out, was given this realm to run. And he offered Jebus the 9 realms. And Jesus didn't say, you can't offer me them because they're not yours to offer, Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub. No, he said, I'm not taking them. Ephesians will do that part for you, and you can find the chapter and verses yourselves. You will find that he didn't take them. God is the ruler of the heavens, as are heaven, or Lord's Prayer. Shit, Andy, we didn't cover the Lord's Prayer. Heaven the shit. Sorry, I'm losing it a bit because it's late and I'm struggling, but I want to get the last bits out. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, as on earth as in heaven. Heaven, the Lord lives in the heavens above space, the seas of space of the heavens. Got down here. Yeah, we did talk about the Lord's Prayer. You're right. Actually, it's coming back to me now. But it's still relevant to see how all this is wrapped up. So you can only speak like that about these issues and subjugation, subrogation, and that through due diligence and research. Yeah, and I may have copied from books and publications and law things and other videos, but Gemstone, we know what you know, and we're grateful for finding the publications and the videos there that Liability Mate has uploaded, that SPL's Pro has shadowed, that we're then going to lead the rest of these tribes, clansmen, herbalists, shaman, lucky little. Some of you are married out of wedlock, so you will be called bastards, like I was when I was married out of wedlock, born when mum's out of wedlock, classed as a bastard. So we'll take all these kings, queens, brothers and sisters, herbalists, tribalists, shaman, family members, little bastards, whatever you are. We've got love for you all, and we will endeavour to push forward. But you do not go putting out videos and publications with a tone in it of which is telling man that man is bad and guilty and belligerent and ignorant and must do it a certain way. Because as we know, there's more ways than one to skin a cat. Okay, that's why you've got secured party creditor, UCC, live, life, claim for, transfer via endorsement, bills of exchange, A for V. That's, wow, it's just ridiculous. It really is a mashup of mash up the place. Some of the music that I used to DJ, and we used to mash up the bar, smash the bar. We've smashed all of everything that we had and given us counterfeit, insufficient data. Number Johnny 5. So we've gone out and we've got the data, we've filled it in, and I'm very grateful. I'm very happy. Tonight's been a brilliant hangout, quite controversial and political. Like I say, the Lord leading the prayer, the changing, the man, the words, why, fear, who, what Andy said, and I correlated it to being Francis papacies there and their claim on. So game on, and it's not our fault for what has happened. It's not our fault for what is they've done, but it is our fault to some extent on what we tolerate, and we are not going to tolerate anymore. We are not going to be programmed and react the way they want us to. Not when we have quite a solid foundation that our forefathers and bloodlines and ancestral lineage, DNA, good souls that have walked this realm, have fought and died for, sacrificed for, lost for, been victims of miscarriages of justice and so forth, died by the sword, been converted to, and so forth. So we recognize, we give love and respect for all the lost ones, and we love you, the families, and we are here, the alphas, the omegas. We have awoken, we have the technology, we have the pathway. We've got brother Smithy, we've got Kevin, we've got the gstar.com, we've got Josh in the field, and we're about to expand and go further with the extra publications now that we promised, and just stand by. There is testing and coursework for the free documents, and they will be done on videos on SPLs, and I will give you a quiz for those that are live, and you can ask me questions live and things about it, and then it will be on the replay, and the comments will be continuously updated. The first 3 videos will be public, and then the rest have got to go private, and that's the way it is. So you should understand, upper stand, inner stand, overstand, and feel pretty safe, loved, surrounded by light and future of prosperity, rather than AI restricted legal point system. Your face is a cookie, doom and gloom. Computer says no, go over there to die. Basically, we're not going to allow that. There's a lady lives opposite me on a doorstep called Christina. I went over the other day because Anne-Marie said go to the chippy to get some chips, please. So I did. And I went out the door and I saw this lady sat on the doorstep. She lives there. She does actually live there. She doesn't want a flat. She hates the system, and she's called Christina. And I kiss her hand call her my princess sister. I sat down with her and I had a chat with her. I offered her some to get some food from the chippy, as it says in the book, and that you've got to give to others, even if you can't afford it. You've got to try and give them something, even if it's a bit of love rather than money and food. I sat down and I'm going to offer to buy her some chips or food, kebab, or anything she wants from the chippy while I go. So I can't walk back with food, go and eat with my family, knowing there's a woman that's sitting outside a closed pizza shop in the rain with no food. You see what I mean? So I sat there with her, bless her. She's been to a mate's house. A mate's in a bit of a dodgy way. He has had a bit of a drink and stuff, so he's in restricted housing. He's not allowed anybody in his flat. She goes round to cooking some dinner because he's that drunk all the time. He doesn't cook properly, and he's not allowed anybody in. She has to scam her way in, get the keypad passcode, dodge the camera, get in there, keep quiet. And she's in there cooking dinner. She's been there 2 hours and they're eating and having a chat. She's made spaghetti meatballs, something quite healthy. You know what I mean? Don't think bad of Sister Christina just because she's chosen to live in a doorway and be rained upon and starve and exit the system. That's what I don't want nobody to do, that I don't think anybody should do, because there's a remedy there and you're close to it, all right? So hang in. Christina, she's given up and she's gone to her mate, she's cooked, she's been there 2 hours. Next thing, police are at the door, and they're knocking the door. They've found out that she's got in, and somebody's rang the police because he's broke the terms of the policy by the corporation. So she's argued and whatnot to no avail. There's bobbies there. They've called back up. Yes, this really happened. I'm not being nasty. Not all officers and constables act like this, but they've called back up and they've got a bit heavy and they've got her out and they've manhandled her and they've ended up trying to take her name and details. And here comes the funny part. She doesn't know what I know, but she's finding out. And she told me that they asked her a name. She told her the name, Christina blah, blah. And then they asked her the date of birth because they want him to contract and join and book her and so forth. So she went, it is the, and I can't remember what she said, the date. So I'll say a date is like the 18, whatever, I can't remember. And she then said she couldn't remember the month. And then she said the year, 1965, whatever, 1968. It's in the 60s somewhere. And she says, and do you know what, Dave? She says, because I couldn't give them the month, they weren't happy. They told me that I must remember the month to get me to, I don't know, remember. And she said that she fell down and she'd had a fight and that she'd been hit on the head and she'd never been able to remember a date of birth. And so the police got angry and manhandled her again. And they were frustrated that she couldn't remember and they told her to clear off and they wouldn't let her back into her mate's house because it was a breach of the policy. And I was just so heartbroken. I was like, Christina, I'm sorry for your, your troubles there and you're a good lass. These policies. And I explained to her and I said the reason why the police weren't happy is because when you don't give them a date of birth, they get frustrated because they don't get to fill in the boxes and contract and consent and get the money. So they know there's no money coming. So if there's no money coming, they can't do business with you because that's what business is about. They only do business with you if they know they're getting paid. And if they can't get paid, they don't do business. If you've not got something registered, they have no access to it. Oh, right, okay. She's like, and she's a bit drunk and that. So I just left her and said, are you sure you don't want any chips? She said, no. I goes, God bless you, sister. And I kissed her hand and went. But Anne-Marie saw, me chatting to her. She says, where have you been? You've been ages for chips. I was talking to the homeless lady, kissing her in the street. Bless. So, yeah, just remember, the times are bad and people give up. They go down destitute places and ignorance is not bliss. And, it's not your fault. Gemstone, I think it was a bit harsh there. If I was you, you haven't made any comments to me or references or any of the work we've done, or, that's fine. You're giving credits, and I'm not here to point fingers or blame, but these family members are desperate, weak, needy, confused, on psycho, neurotoxin drugs, and it's not nice to be in this scared game at the beginning, and then somebody comes to your side and they start learning, become an initiate. You have power over them. You can get them giddy. I appreciate and I acknowledge and I respect what I have of the scribes on here and what I do. I'm an amateur fool, brother, idiot, but I try my best. I'm not perfect, but I am considerate with their hearts, even with the trolls and the shills and the Romans and the pagans and everybody else. We have to have love for them. But then again, do unto others. as they do unto you. We try to rise above that because, you know, and that's how we are. So we are aware, and we have love for everybody, but you must appreciate the positions you are in. And sometimes I don't know if it's accidental, if it's contrived, if it's arrogance, ego, if it's intentional, non-intentional, if there's a sub-routine or context behind it. But with us, you just know we're idiot fools trying our best. And that's it, done. Yeah. But the rest, yes, I'm not so sure about. I'm grateful for information, as always, key information, articulate, concise information. I'm grateful for um, counsels of and chats and link ups, and I'm not grateful for poor Christina and what she's chosen to do and the way that the system is, and drugs and death and misery and alcoholism. And if you don't work, you die. Well, that's not nice. You know, if you don't know who you are, you will pay for that accusation and an offence. It's not very nice either, but that's the way they've rigged it. So the answers are there. It's been a good chat. It is time to go. Saying good night. Just like the Walton family. John, Allegra, Lisa, Imea, Albert. Thank you. Allegra. Oh, see, it's not updating. You encountered divine spending time. Oh, it didn't. I just, well, yeah, maybe, sister. I'm not having a go at you, but no, I just thought, shit, I can't walk past her with food. She needs food. She's got to be starving. I wonder if she likes chips. Yeah, everybody likes chips. Come on, we'll get her some chips. That won't hurt. And maybe some fish if she wants it. I'd have got her anything. But yeah, she said no. Do you know what she said actually, sister? She said that the corner shop that's not far from here, on the corner of the street, had seen her, called her across. He was unloading from the cash and carry. She thought he wanted help for that. His wife came out and brought 3 paper plates stacked up with loads of different things and dishes and okra and you know, rice and Indian food and pakoras and samosas, all triple stacked plates with cling film and that. And she gave her that and said, "Here you go, Christina, that's from us." Because that's the beautiful thing about some of the religions, that they say, you know, you've got to give back and give and receive, and you will give back and you will receive back. So she didn't want any chips because the corner shop had fed her, and the community was already in action. So I was like, forget it, we're kicking ass already. You know, we're on the right path. We just had a chat instead. All right then, John, Allegra, S, Albert, 15 scribes, 1 a.m. Saturday. Happy Sunday, David, SON day, the day of the fathers, with respect and love to the strong men. Behind every strong man, there is indeed a strong woman, or a stronger woman. Yes, thank you, sisters. We love you. We need you. Stick with us. The men are learning, and we're trying. So thank us. Thank you. Thank everybody. Thank Andy. Thank goodness. It's time to go. I need a drink. Much love. Stay private and self-governing. Well hydrated. Ciao, Bello.